In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with
What's up?
This is Blood Politics.
Hey, Judy. Thank you. You as well.
It's about right and wrong. It's about us versus them. This is Blood Politics. And we gonna do what we gotta do.
All right, what's up, guys? What's going on? What do you say we just jump right into it, huh? Another show, another day. Lots more to get to. Boy, do we have a jam-packed, action-packed show for you today. You're going to want to hit that like button. I promise you, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button at some point. You don't have to do it right away. Give me a shot. Give me the opportunity. You know, let me prove myself to you first, and then you can hit that old subscribe button. But before we get into the nutso craziness, insanity, chaos that we have to be covering every single day on this show, what do you say we say hi to the chat? What's going on, guys? How are you? Appreciate that. Oh, Peter, what's going on, brother? What's going on? Starting off in the right direction as usual. We got some fabulous people in the chat. What's going on, Pete? Appreciate that for the 5 gifted memberships. That means 5 people right off the jump. Right off the jump. Getting a subscription, free subscription for a month right here at the old Blunt Politics, Boston, Brian, community, family that we've built here. Whatever you want to call it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to the mods as well for keeping that chat a safe place down there. Well, as safe as possible. You know what I mean? It's tough these days. But we got a lot to get to. What's going on, Jamie? What's up, Jupiter? Judy? How are you? What's going on, Karen? What's going on, Susie? How are you, Kathleen? What's up, Jeff? What's going on, Yakov? How are you, my brother? Appreciate you, man. What's up, Flipper? El Rondo? What's up, Lee? How are you? What's up, Dame Dog? Appreciate you guys, everybody that made it out to the Patreon Zoom last night. Some great conversations to be had. It was a fabulous time. So once again, appreciate you guys for your support. Appreciate you guys for showing out. Lots to get to, lots to talk about as usual. So I appreciate you guys down there in the chat for doing everything that you possibly can to keep this show running. You know what I mean? It's just, I know it's tough work for you guys. I know you got a lot to try to cover. You got a lot of people to try to support, a lot of accounts that want your time, attention, and finances. So, I know you're spread thin. So I appreciate you taking some time out of your day, sharing a buck or two with the channel and in hopes of, keeping it going. So it's all up to you guys. I appreciate you. It's all thanks to you that we got to this position in the first place. Hopefully we get some great guests coming up too. I'm not going to jump the gun. I won't go announcing anything just yet, but we do hopefully have some fabulous guests lined up for the weeks to come. So stay tuned, subscribe for that as well. What are we talking about today, guys? What are we talking about today? We'll be talking about how the strait's still closed. I know a lot of people that kind of gets pushed to the background as far as what's been taking place in the news recently. We got the Republicans in the Supreme Court trying to fight back against the victory in Virginia that the Democrats saw as far as redistricting. We'll be talking about Jimmy Kimmel being targeted for his Melania joke. I'm dying to hear what you guys think about that, what you guys think in the comments. So let's spark up a debate about that. So we'll be talking about, obviously, the Trump regime's lies about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We'll be looking at Donald Trump's disastrous 60 Minutes interview, and that was both disastrous for not only the media, but also for Donald Trump, so it's kind of a twofer in that regard. So we'll be talking about that. We got a clip here, some MAGA voters kind of fucking around and finding out again. They're figuring out now that their energy costs, the energy bills right now, isn't exactly what Donald Trump promised them they were going to see, but it is exactly what they voted for it. So it's, again, tough for me to draw out any sympathy, compassion, or empathy in this case, but maybe you guys can persuade me in the comments. We're also taking a look at Jesse Dollemore rips into the media hacks, not only for showing up to the White House Correspondents' Dinner to begin with, but also their ridiculous ass-kissing coverage that's happening since. We'll be talking about that, and also how the Republicans now want taxpayers taxpayers to pay for the ballroom. Again, as we kind of saw coming, everybody has been talking about how it's a privately funded ballroom. You shouldn't be worrying as the taxpayers. Well, guess what? Now we got politicians in government trying to make it exactly that, a taxpayer-funded ballroom. So we'll be talking about that, discussing that. We got more Lego drops to go through. Ukraine really cracking down on, the oil refineries down there in Russia and the occupied territories. They also have a story coming out where Ukraine's cracking down on Israel buying stolen grain from Russia. So we got a little clip, a little story that details a little bit of that as well. Obviously, the Tuapse refinery. What else we got? There's a little bit on the U.S. ammo stockpiles as well. Some more info coming out about the U.S. stockpiles and kind of where we've been dipping into as far as the munitions used, expended in the Iran war so far. So if we got enough time, we'll be seeing if we could dig into that as well. Lots to get to. Like I said, action-packed show. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. My name's Brian. This is Blunt Politics, the not your average political podcast. It just kind of breaks down the bullshit, the lies, the propaganda of the mainstream media, the politicians that are out there, and just kind of breaks it down for the friendly, family-like atmosphere that we've created here, where there's no right and wrongs. You speak what's on your mind. Tell us how you feel, and you're kind of rewarded for it. So I appreciate you guys for all of the help, the opportunity, the support that you guys have shown. Thank you, Patrick, again for starting it off today with the 5 gifted memberships. You guys too can gift in the chat, just like Patrick, whether it's memberships. You can do a super chat, super sticker. A lot of people hitting milestones as far as memberships, so we go through all that at the end of the show as well. You can also check out the Venmo, a little QR code here where you can just kind of take a picture, send a buck or two to the Venmo. Goes a long way in helping support independent media. Again, anything above that, $1 or $2, is totally 100% up to you and your financial situation. But again, we do things, hopefully, I think, the right way here, where we're not selling you any bullshit. There's no financial backers, there's no sponsors, there's no mid-show ads or things that we have to sell you 14 times during the live stream to make sure that we can keep going. So we try to do things typically as the word independent goes, just like that. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys that support that route, and people on the Patreon, people supporting and signing up for the memberships here on YouTube. It goes a long way. So I appreciate you guys. All right, let's dive into the bullshit. Now that the self-promotional aspect is out of the way, what are we diving into first? There's a lot that I have to pull up, a lot that I want to talk about. First thing that we're going to be discussing is the ever-present and ongoing market manipulation from Donald Trump. What am I doing here? Am I trying to put this on the screen? I probably should put it on the screen before I just make myself a small corner on the screen. Hold on, let me throw this on. Because the market manipulation has begun again, right? What do we know? Talking about Donald Trump, talking about his market manipulation and trying to make it seem like everything's A-okay, everything's hunky-dory, nothing could be better. The stock market shouldn't react negatively. The price of oil shouldn't continue to go up. And we've seen this through line a bunch of times, whether it's Donald Trump's tariffs, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. No, this country has them. No, this country doesn't have them. No, they're 25%. No, it's 10%. No, it's 5%. No, they're on, they're off. So this thing has been going on for a long time. Well, this is Ron Filipkowski posting. Trump issues his 19th declaration of victory over 8+ weeks, and he puts on his True Social shithole. Iran has just informed me, and this is put out 4/28/26, 9:30 a.m., 9:29 a.m. So Iran has just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. So they just called Donald Trump randomly, just phoned him up randomly, or sent him a text randomly, or an email, or a fax. Who knows at this point? But just randomly decided to put on that fucking statement, on that email, on that text, in that phone call, that they were in a state of collapse. Just randomly, after all of the fight talk, all of the harsh rhetoric, no signs of backing down, no signs of relinquishing control over the Strait of Hormuz. All of the bullshit that we've known and the discrepancies between what Donald Trump and Iran has had to say. Iran just decided today that they were going to send Donald Trump a message saying, you know what, you're right. Everything that you've done is effective. We're ready to give up. We're in a state of collapse. How about that? That's what Donald Trump wants us to believe. He goes on to say, they want us to, quote, open the strait as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President, yada, yada, yada. So again, this is just, clear indication of him once again trying to ease the market tensions, trying to make it so that the price of a barrel of oil doesn't continue to skyrocket, that he tries to somehow keep it within reason, try to somehow keep it from exploding like we know it has the potential to do. Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that. Nice cut, Boston Brian. Back to being the man rocking you out. Come on. Easy. Settle down in the chat there. Settle down. It's only a haircut. But, Jeff, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for being here for a year, your contributions, your membership, and your kind words, obviously. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that. But, again, this is what they do. This is exactly what they do. He feels like, and he can to a certain extent, pretty much control to a certain degree for, within certain percentages, what the hell takes place and how the market reacts. Not so much taking place, though, on this one, right? It doesn't seem to be having the effect that he wants it to have as far as, again, the price of a barrel of oil or the markets and their reactions. But it doesn't stop him from trying. It doesn't stop him from trying this bullshit over and over and over again with the market manipulation, with basically his tweets trying to get everybody to believe that everything's okay. Iran's just on the verge of capitulation. This should be over at any minute now. Any second, this is going to be over, and everything's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You guys, you can't see it yet. I know you're unable to see it right now, but boy, when it becomes clear, you're going to love what happens. That's what he wants to try to get you to believe, and it's all bullshit. But, to start off today with, what we've been talking about for quite some time, and Donald Trump's attempt to, ease the markets and ease the pressure put on the world economy at this point by him and Benjamin Netanyahu, another further attempt. And that kind of leads us into further attempts by others in the GOP and others on the right side of the aisle as well, because, we talked a lot about the victory in Virginia. We talked about how, they are finally fighting fire with fire, and that the Republicans have no position to cry in this, right? No way, no shape, no form do they have an instance, a way, an angle to attack the Democrats, considering what they've been willing to do as far as redistricting. While this goes on, this is a Guardian article here that the U.S. Supreme Court reinstates Texas electoral map favoring Republicans, obviously in retaliation for the victory that we saw in Virginia. Redrawn map could flip up to 5 seats to Republicans as Trump's party seeks to control Congress. Right. So, again, these steps being taken here by the U.S. Supreme Court to try to mitigate the damages that are clearly evident that the GOP is destined to see as far as the midterm slaughter, the midterm, spanking that they're in line for right now. So this is them seeing that the Democrats have done what they needed to do, have done what was necessary, and they're trying to fight that. And that goes along with Ron DeSantis. And there's another one from the AP along the same lines, right? Florida's redistricting fight puts Ron DeSantis back in the Republican spotlight. And again, this is as Ron DeSantis he says, Ron DeSantis was once the future of the Republican Party, a battle-tested conservative, twice elected, yada, yada. Then Donald Trump steamrolled him on his way back. No more than 2 years, DeSantis ended his presidential campaign and endorsed Trump. The governor is returning to the national spotlight, at least for this week. He's pushing state lawmakers to redraw Florida's congressional map as a part of a coast-to-coast redistricting battle ahead of November's midterm elections. His proposal would make it easier for Republicans to win 4 more seats, equivalent to Democrats' potential gains from last week's referendum in Virginia. So, again, this is a direct response, a direct retaliation, again, to the victory that the Democrats saw in their fight in Virginia. So, I mean, it's kind of what we expected, right in line with what we thought, right in line with the control that they have over the Supreme Court, right in line with the control that they have over these different positions in these different moronic states, Florida and Ron DeSantis being one of them. So we got to keep our eyes on this. We got to make sure that this doesn't kind of, fall by the wayside, get kind of pushed into the background with all of the other craziness, with all of the other bullshit happening. We want to make sure that we put the most hurt on the GOP. We put the most hurt on the Republican Party come midterms. And again, we have to, try to mitigate these and, highlight and spotlight these as much as possible, where, again, they're trying to, redistrict and gerrymander their states further to try to, again, mitigate what the gains that the Democrats have seen in their recent victories. So right in line with what the fuck we thought they were going to be doing. So really no surprise to see as far as that's concerned. But another no surprise, another thing that we're really not surprised to see is that the media now is doing the tap dancing that we expected from them. We got a couple clips here, like I said, from Jesse Dollemore and a few others calling that out directly. But I said the other day, a big fuck you to any reporter, any so-called journalist, anybody in that room for the White House Correspondents' Dinner that was there to normalize and clap like a seal for people that would sooner have them removed from that fucking room, would have them thrown out on their ass, would have their careers stripped from them, would have them thrown in prison in a lot of these cases, rather than they'd have, have a glass of champagne or have a dinner dinner with these fucking people. A lot of the lawsuits we brought up, a lot of the disrespect, the denigration that Donald Trump has shown to the media, to journalists over the years. Basically, every interaction that he has, he's disrespecting, mostly female reporters, mostly female journalists that go to ask him a question, that dare to ask him a follow-up question. But don't worry, on this one night, we're going to put all that aside. We'll make it seem like he's not a fascist. He's not authoritarian. He's not calling us fake news. He's not trying to control the media. He's not trying to, curtail everybody's First Amendment right to their freedom of free speech, right? No, he's not trying to do all that. We'll put that aside for one night. We'll make it seem like everything's hunky-dory, make it seem like everything's, A-okay. Don't worry about it. No, I have a big fucking problem with that. So along those lines, we've seen this with Jimmy Kimmel. They've tried to make him kind of this scapegoat. As far as the joke that he told the other night, and I think it's a spot-on joke, the fact that, Melania and Donald Trump don't get along, the fact that they hate each other, the fact that Donald Trump's an old, decrepit, aging, mindless, soulless hack of a person that is not destined for much longer on this planet. I think that's pretty much the consistency of the joke, and I think everybody got that. But now they're trying to twist it. They're trying to turn that into, Jimmy Kimmel was talking about an assassination plot, and he was talking about political violence, which is just horseshit. And I don't know. I'm kind of worried a little bit as far as I've seen a lot of people. I think I should probably speed this up, the clip, because I don't know if they're trying to hit people with copyrights as far as that's concerned, but I'll speed it up a little bit just in case. It's a short clip. It's only 36 seconds. It's posted by a ton of people. I've seen a ton of people review these clips. So YouTube, freedom of use, fair game, whatever the hell I say, I'm supposed to say. That's what I said. Pretend I said that, but it's only a short clip. And this is, again, to trying to determine what's going on with the government and, the president of the United States and others. So I think it's pretty important that we cover this stuff. But this is Jimmy Kimmel, again, talking about his joke that he told about Melania. And this, I believe, is either his response. I forget now. Like I said, I have so many tabs pulled up here. This is either his response or him explaining the joke to begin with. I got two clips from here. So let's see if we can dive into this. Again, even if they do say I got to take this part out, it's only a short clip anyway. So let's see if we can dive into it. This is, again, Jimmy Kimmel. I think he's talking about Caroline Leavitt in this one.
I am sorry that you and the president and everyone in that room on Saturday went through that. I really am. Just because no one got killed doesn't mean it wasn't traumatic and scary. And we should come together and be best. We really should. But if you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything that happened, well, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady, too.
This speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight.
You know what?
So again, they're bringing up the clear hypocrisy of people trying to, kind of bring a one-to-one connection between, Jimmy Kimmel's joke, while also not recognizing that, if they're going to talk about that, they probably should bring up the irony, the kind of similarities, the craziness involved in what she said and what we saw happen and take place that very night. But I think this one is where he's addressing the, kind of the pushback in the people that were, trying to call him out as far as this and trying to scapegoat him as far as this was concerned. Let me see if I can throw this one on too. And again, this is just real quick. This is a little longer, but we don't have to play the whole thing. I'll speed this up again just for shits and giggles, just for safety's sake. Speed that up just a touch, make this a little bigger on the screen. Let me see. This one actually had a little note next to it too. It says Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, this is by somebody that we probably don't agree with. Jimmy Kimmel just defended his Melania expecting widow joke, claiming it was about their age difference. He fails to apologize, then doubles down, yada, yada, yada. This is just where I got the clip from. So people bitching and complaining again because they're snowflakes, and that's what they do. That's what they do. But here's just a quick clip again from Jimmy Kimmel, I think in this case, explaining what he meant with his joke.
You know what? Sometimes you wake up in the morning and the first lady puts out a statement demanding you be fired from your job. We've all been there, right? You've been there, right, Guillermo? Yeah, sure. Yeah. What a day.
Fucking Guillermo. Guillermo still kills me, man.
As you know, they had to cancel the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington on Saturday night after a man with multiple guns and knives crashed the party and may have shot a Secret Service officer. Fortunately, the guy was wearing a bulletproof vest and is okay. They're not sure exactly what happened, but they got the guy. He was charged today. No one was hurt, thank goodness. A lot of people were shaken up on a night that is supposed to be lighthearted. The White House Correspondents' Dinner, if you don't know, it used to be an annual event before Trump showed up. But every year they'd have a comedian roast the room. The president, the vice president, members of the press, everybody got roasted. I did it once. I hosted it. It was a lot of fun. But this year, they said, no comedian. We're bringing in a mentalist instead. So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth. J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm. And a call to fire me from our first lady, Melania Trump, saying,
yeah, so again, Melania put on Twitter that, Jimmy Kimmel should be fired, again, paraphrasing something along those lines. But, you can tell the backlash that he's received, not when he did this, but only after the event, after the White House Correspondents' Dinner event, and how they're trying to use this, again, trying to scapegoat and trying to use this and point to Democrats like, oh, it's the rhetoric from the Democrats. It's all these bad terms and words that Democrats call Donald Trump that stoke this. Again, not recognizing and not fucking realizing how stupid they sound. We've heard and we've listened to Donald Trump for fucking years and years now, call people demons and savages and animals, poisoning the blood of our people, calling Democrats the devils. I mean, it's just, there's too much of it. I think I actually have a clip here. One of these clips that I have pulled up coming up here in the 17 billion that I have pulled up, kind of details the hypocrisy and some of the things that Donald Trump has said in the past and continues to say, even in his 60 Minutes interview. Talking about how people are evil and this and that, the whole 9 yards. So the hypocrisy of them trying to scapegoat and make this joke from Jimmy Kimmel, make it seem like it was about, assassination or anything other than just the age discrepancy and the relationship between Melania and Donald Trump, which is very apparent, right? Very, very apparent to everybody. Like, it's no secret to anybody that they don't necessarily have the best relationship. They both don't stay in the same places, right? The smacking away of the hands. We can all talk about those videos that we've seen a fucking billion times from these two. But yeah, that was a little bit of the Jimmy Kimmel pushback, but it's so stupid to see that the mainstream media is back on their bullshit as far as carrying water for this like talking point that it's like somehow Democrats that are to blame, and it's not the actions of this administration. It's not the lies told by this administration. It's not the cover up of the Epstein files by this administration. It's not the fucking plight of not only the people here in the United States as far as gas prices, grocery prices, rent, energy costs, fucking whether or not you have to go out and buy a vehicle and the exorbitant costs that you have to face as far as that's concerned now. All of the things that we can see in the people on the world stage, in the Asian markets, in the European markets that are now feeling the hurt because of Donald Trump's needless, senseless, illegal, and unconstitutional war in Iran, right? Like all of those things that we could talk about, and they're going to bring up the fact that we're calling that out. The fact that we're looking at authoritarianism, we're looking at fascism and calling it fascism and calling it authoritarianism. No, fuck that. Bullshit. Absolutely not. It's not going to stop us from calling it out. If anything, it's going to fucking make us want to do it even more, right? And it's stupid to think that, I think it was, who was it? Dana Bash on with Jamie Raskin, asking him a similar set of questions like, oh, don't you think we should tone down like, fuck you. No. How about they tone down the bullshit, right? How about they answer for all of the criminal acts that they've been responsible for, right? How about they're held to account? How about they're fucking brought to justice? How about something happens as far as that's concerned, right? How about we recognize the lies and how pissed off people are in this country because of the lies that they've been told, because of the hurt that they're now under, because of this administration in such a short time, right? In their second term. It's crazy. But no, we also had, I didn't even bring it up at the beginning either, but we had King Chuck from Britain, and Queen Camilla had their visit today. And boy, did Donald Trump not disappoint as far as embarrassing the United States on the world stage. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting bad. It's getting fucking bad. Not that it was good. Not that it was ever good. I don't want to give that impression whatsoever, but it's getting to the point where even King Chuck, right, who's somebody who's kind of old, feeble, not known to be the most, I don't know, let's just say the brightest of human beings, to say the least. I'm sorry, just saying, you know what I mean? I've heard some of the clips. I've seen some of the videos of some of the things like that he's not able to do himself because of, the way he's been treated, the way he's been brought up, and, whatever. I'm sure that's a side conversation that can be had. But when he's sitting behind Donald Trump making faces like, holy shit, this guy's lost his fucking marbles, right? When he's laughing at the fact that Donald Trump can't get through a written speech, like he can't read off a teleprompter or a piece of paper anymore and effectively get the words out so people that can understand him, like that's when like it's becoming fucking we're past that point of no return. Let's just say we're past that point of no return. But there was a couple of these moments here, and we won't dive into too much of it, of this bullshit. A lot of people talking about the bruising on Donald Trump's hand has now seemingly gone from his left hand to now both of his hands, which a lot of people were recognizing, were realizing as far as the pictures coming out from this as well. It was, and I could be getting this backwards, so forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. I believe it was on his right hand to begin with, because that would make sense as far as their excuse of him shaking hands and shit. And now people are recognizing and realizing that it's now starting to show up on his left hand as far as the bruising and the obvious, makeup covering and stuff like that. But there was a few other moments in this. Here's one that just is just the most cringe. I don't know. I don't even know what you'd want to say. Just definitely one of the more embarrassing moments where Donald Trump here tries to crack a joke related to him and Melania. And again, if this doesn't go and feed the flames and feed the fire and point directly to how spot on Jimmy Kimmel's joke was as far as their relationship, their marriage, and what it looks like, what she's hoping for, like this does a lot to kind of build the credit for his joke. Because this is Aaron Rupar says Trump tries to crack a joke to Melania about their marriage, but she no-sells it, right? So basically, she couldn't have been fucking less amused. There was not a smile cracked. She was like, shut the fuck up and move on. That one didn't hit. And I think he's talking about his mother and father and how long they were married. And then he says basically that him and Melania will never get to that point. They'll never be able to be married 60-something years or something like that. And wait till you see Melania's reaction and check out King Chuck's reaction too. Check out King Chuck's reaction. I'll pop out of the way so you can see King Chuck.
Him, Fred, and they were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way.
Yeah, she's
We'll
like,
do well,
shut the
but we're not
fuck
gonna
up.
do that well.
Shut up. And look at
63
King
years.
Charles. King Charles is like, Jesus
And-
Christ.
My mother, him,
Just like, oh, come on. What in the hell are we doing? And there was a couple other moments from this, but one other moment here was this one where Donald Trump struggles again to read off of a piece of paper at his speech this morning. Let's see if we can play this part here.
in a few hours, His Majesty will stand in the heart of the United States Capitol as the very first British king ever to address.
I mean, he's going to be the first British king ever to address, I guess, the addressed. I'm not sure what he's addressing, but he's definitely addressing it.
Joint session of the United States Congress. So he's going to be addressing.
What? Let's get that one more time. Watch
United
King Charles'
States.
reaction.
Hours,
Ready?
His
Let me get out of the
Majesty
way.
will stand in the heart
What? Look at him.
of the United States Capitol as the very first British king ever to address a joint session of the United States Congress.
He's
So
like, don't
gonna
look
be
up. Don't look
addressing-
up. I don't know what that word means. I have no clue what that word means, but don't look up. And somebody said that, did somebody say that Melania mouthed good in the last clip? Let me see. I'm going to go back for a second. Let me see. Was it this one? Where'd it go now? That was the first one. This was the second one. Oh, let me see. I'm going to go back to this one. Does she mouth good? I'm going to check it out. Let me see here. Watch Melania's reaction.
him, Fred, and they were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way. We'll do well, but we're not going to do that well. 63 years.
No, doesn't look like she says anything.
And
She basically wants to just fucking
mother-
throw him off the podium at that point. she'd love to just throw him off the stage at that point. Like, shut up, you fucking embarrassing piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you can't keep your goddamn like stay on script. Stay on script. Don't try to do anything. And here's another one of those pictures. As far as people looking at Donald Trump's hands, the hands of both King Charles and Trump are in pretty bad shape today. Let's see here. So there's Trump, and you can see kind of in this picture. I'll get out of the way so that you can see. I don't know. Can I zoom in on these photos for some reason? I feel like Twitter doesn't allow me to do that. Yeah, no, I don't think it makes the actual photo itself any bigger. But you can see here Donald Trump's right hand with the bruising, and then there's another picture, I believe, of his left hand that you can see the bruising as well and kind of the makeup. I know it's probably hard to tell as far as that picture is concerned, but there was one where I think he has his arm around either Melania or around, Queen Camilla, as far as that's concerned. Let's see if they got that one posted. Yeah. No, I don't think he's got. I think that was on a different. I think that was on a different account, but there was definitely a few pictures. Let me see. I'll even scroll down a little bit. Was this the one? I think that might have been the one that people stopped and they blew up, and they were looking at Donald Trump's left hand now instead of his right hand. Might have been that one if I'm not mistaken, but again, don't quote me on that because there's a lot of them coming out as far as that's concerned. All right, let's see if we can jump into this because this details. Yeah, this is from Zateo, just kind of detailing a little bit of the hypocrisy as well, and then we'll get into Jesse Dollamore's video talking about the media and how they're complicit. We also have a video here from an ex-Army sniper, I do believe, talking about the footage from the White House correspondence shooting and how it's not lining up with what Todd Blanche and the administration is talking about. So we'll be detailing that. We'll look into that in just a second as well. But let's see if we can throw this on the screen because this is just kind of going through a little bit of the hypocrisy of the media, a little bit of the hypocrisy of what Trump and the GOP is saying. Because if they're not bringing up the fact that, let me see, where is it? This one? Where the hell did I just put it up? Oh, no, here it is right here. Because if they're not bringing up the fact that the rhetoric is much worse, much more egregious, much more violent, much more inhumane, stemming from the Republican side, stemming from Donald Trump himself, then they're doing everybody, a disservice as far as what their job is supposed to be. But Zateo doing some pretty good work, reminding everybody where the dangerous rhetoric really lies. So this is one put out here, a compilation of a few moments that Donald Trump has, pretty much done exactly what he's saying the Democrats are, guilty of. So let's see if we can just play this real quick. Again, Mehdi Hassan's Zateo. Appreciate him for putting this out.
They are indeed the enemy from within, but this is who we're fighting. We will root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country.
And again, couldn't get any closer to the rhetoric of Mein Kampf. So you think that's something that should be rightly called out? Is that something that should be rightly called fascistic, authoritarian in nature? Again, so is it bad of us to continuously call him these things? Is it bad of us to recognize what he's saying, relate that to a historic figure and how that went and, kind of how that ended for everybody? I don't think so. I think it's kind of spot on. So the fact that they're trying to call out the Democrats or the progressives or the liberals that have been, calling this guy a fascist and an authoritarian and a piece of shit and mindless and a soulless hack of a human being, those are all spot on, correct, no notes. So again, there's no way in which you could be wrong. There's no way in which you could be held responsible for anything that happens for calling out the truth like that. So it's just not. If anybody's to blame, it's the people enacting this shit. It's the people that are responsible for the laws, the policies, the wars that we're now facing, the prices that we're now facing.
The Democrats are sick. There's something wrong. They're like terrorists. The ultra-left-wing liars, losers, creeps, perverts, and freaks who are devouring the future of this state like a swarm of locusts. The radical left, the Marxists, the anarchists, the agitators, the looters. Members of Congress and even former presidents have been openly embracing vile creeds such as socialism, Marxism, and straight-up communism. In New York, they're trying to elect a communist, Zoran Mamdani. We are going to defeat a communist known as Kamala Harris, most radical left person ever to run for office. This is communist, this is Marxist, this is fascist. Have you heard her laugh? That is the laugh of a crazy person. That is the laugh of a crazy person. It's the laugh of a lunatic. Have you heard? Kamala is mentally impaired. Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way. Ilhan Omar, who her brother became her husband. We keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. We'll stand up to craziness.
It's funny, I didn't hear Norah O'Donnell talk about, the rhetoric coming from Donald Trump himself or the Republican side of the GOP in totality as far as when she sat down with him on 60 Minutes. It's funny how, it only goes one way. as far as what's being talked about on CSN or MSNBC or the rest of these fucking hacks that, feel like that they were, because they had to hide under the table for a couple minutes. Now they have the reason in the position to now hop into this fight and be like, well, it is the rhetoric of the Democrats that put us in that position. They shut the fuck up. First off, you shouldn't have been there to normalize the situation. And second of all, how about we recognize where it actually stems from?
Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? Crazy.
And again, talking about violent rhetoric and stoking violence and perpetrating violence on politicians or political violence in general, right? Look no further than Donald Trump's statements after Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked by a lunatic with a fucking hammer. Look no further than Donald Trump Jr. using that as his, his Halloween costume. For the year and posting that on Twitter. I mean, the Republican reaction on the whole from that. I mean, is it really a one-sided battle like CNN, Dana Bash, and fucking, the rest of these hacks are trying to make it out to seem? Absolutely not. And how about they look within their own administration? Wasn't it not long ago that J.D. Vance was calling Donald Trump America's Hitler? Right? It's funny how that doesn't come up in conversations. Funny how CNN and the rest of these assholes never seem to bring that one up. The people that have called Donald Trump all these names, that have made clear what they think of Donald Trump in the past. But now all of a sudden their tune has changed because they're getting the bucks, because they now have the proximity to power, whatever it may be. But that doesn't seem to be called out at all. This goes on.
Horrible human being, Nancy Pelosi, who cheats like hell. She's a crooked person. She's a bad person. Evil. She's an evil, sick, crazy. Oh, no.
Jeez, what the fuck was that? Jesus Christ. What was that?
It starts with a B, but I won't say it. I want to say it. Adam Shifty Schiff. I call him Pencil Neck.
And that goes on. It continues for another, I'm sure, minute and a half or so. But you kind of get the idea of the hypocrisy, again, of anybody, depending on, it doesn't matter what fucking organization they're working for, what media news outlet they're working for, magazine, newspaper they're working for. If they're trying to make it seem like this is a Democrat problem, like a Democrat rhetoric problem, then again, you have all the ability and information and evidence to push back on that shit, and all the evidence in the world to corroborate and to confirm everything that you're saying. Authoritarianism, all the instances in which he's been an authoritarian, fascism, all the fucking direct pieces of evidence that directly reflect the pieces of fascism that have now gone into American policy in this guy's administration, right? I mean, it's just, you have all the answers, the information, and the facts on your side to combat all this bullshit, which is, again, people like Jamie Raskin have no, I think even his response to this was a little fucking mealy mouth, if I will say. You should be able to push back on this pretty firmly. But again, that's just kind of a little piece of what Donald Trump has said in the past, just a little fraction of what Donald Trump has said in the past, to, again, give you the reasoning to say the things that you say, right? To point out the things that you guys continuously point out. But here's Jesse Dollemore, friend of the show here. Shout out to Jesse, who, again, calls this out the way I think it needs to be called out. He's talking about the complicity of not only the media for going to this event in the first place, but also what's been taking place afterwards. The people on Fox News and the rest of these assholes, praising Donald Trump, and Brian Stelter praising Donald Trump for his moment of unity when he had the opportunity to attack the press, but he decided to unify. Like, shut the fuck up. Did anybody not see what he was saying afterwards? Did anybody not see his 60 Minutes interview? Has anybody not heard what he said about everybody? The only difference was you assholes were in the same room at this time. So he thinks now he could use that to make it seem like you're on his side, to make it seem like, everybody was kumbaya in that room, and to make it seem like exactly why you shouldn't have been in the fucking room to begin with, if you ask me. But here's Jesse giving his 2 cents on this as well, talking about, again, the complicity of the media, talking about their role in this and how they've treated this situation going forward. And I think he's spot on with what he says. So hit that like button, guys. I appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel if you've been watching, if you've been listening, if you like what you're hearing, even to a certain extent. Nobody has to agree with everybody 100% of the time. I'm sure there's pushback. There's places where I'm wrong. There's places where you can call me out. And I love that. I appreciate that. And I invite that in the chat. Thank you guys so much for, holding me accountable, keeping keeping me sane, keeping me on the right track. I do appreciate it. But hit that like button as you do it. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, and it's only with your help that we're going to get there. So again, shout out to Jesse. This is Complicit Media. Thank Trump for not attacking them, and let's see what he has to say.
I don't know if it's these people never been in harm's way. They don't know what actual threats are. They don't know what actual danger is. But they weren't even in the vicinity. They were on a different floor than where the alleged shooter was on Saturday night. And yet you got Jackie Heinricher. We just want to thank you, Donald Trump. Oh, we are so thankful for your leadership and keeping us safe. You're responsible for all of the freedoms. What are we doing here? And it's not just Fox News. Brian Stelter, the same routine. This was a truly American moment. He could have attacked us all, the president. He could have attacked us all, but oh, he was so gracious, truly American. Were you shell-shocked because there was a guy with a gun in the vicinity, Brian Stelter? What kind of a cushy life have you led, brother? And the same goes for Jackie Heinrich. Watch this and marvel at the sycophancy and try, if it gets a little gross, just look away and listen because it's a spectacle.
And Jackie, with that, I have to go.
Okay, I want to thank you, Mr. President, for joining us today. And I also want to say how grateful we were last night as a member of the board of the White House Correspondents Association and the incoming president of that association. We were very grateful to have you there, taking part in a tradition that recognizes the role of a free press in our democracy. And we're all sad that
absolute nonsense, bullshit, horse shit. She just stepped right in it. I mean, are we not to remember the lawsuits against CBS, the lawsuits against 60 Minutes for their, supposed editing of a Kamala Harris interview? Are we not to recall all of the times he's called it fake media, the enemy of the people, right? I mean, are you serious at this point in time, or are we just fucking living in the Twilight Zone? Right? Because at this point, it's like you just sound like an absolute fucking twat. You know what I mean? You sound like an absolute sycophant, somebody that's totally removed from reality. And again, I don't know if the dollars make up for that on the back end and what they're getting paid, but something must for these people to continue it like this.
went the way that it did. We're all grateful that we get to come home to our
Again,
loved
to the point where I can't even listen to that nonsense anymore. What I want to hear is Jesse's take after the fact. Again, I think we understand the sycophancy of Fox News and the people there and how much ass kissing they're willing to do to continuously stay on the right side of Donald Trump. But again, I'm not here to show that, play that, or deal with that. So let's just hear the take from Jesse afterwards.
Much, Jackie. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Again, because I think it bears repeating, as a member of the board of the White House Correspondents Association and the incoming president of that association, I know that I shit on the group, and I have been over the course of the last couple of weeks in the lead up to the White House Correspondents' dinner. But if your president is going to be a Fox News propagandist, your organization is dog shit. And I'm not sorry to say it. I was going to say sorry to say, not sorry to say. Somebody needs to say it. Inviting a fascist who wants to destroy the Constitution to celebrate that same Constitution. Piss straight off. We are all grateful. We are all grateful that we get to come home to our loved ones and be together afterward. And thankful for your leadership, Donald Trump, in the moments afterward, and for coming on and giving the country the strength to not let those who wish us harm stop us from our pursuit. You're thanking Donald Trump for giving the country the strength? What strength does Donald Trump give anybody? What unity does he provide? This is just bootlicking sycophancy. This is not even anticipatory obedience. This is just obedience. The next president of the White House Correspondents Association. Brian Stelter of CNN, he was sitting there with Jim Sciutto, both of whom, look, I had a modicum of respect for Jim Sciutto until I saw his Polly Walnut's hair hanging out at the dinner the other night. Attending, celebrating the First Amendment with fascist Donald Trump. And here is the discussion he had with Brian Stelter about what an American moment this was when Donald Trump chose not to attack the press. What a special, benevolent, wonderful human being he is for not being a maniac.
Prior to this whole event, there was concern about the president coming to this event for the first time and attacking the media, right? Now, events take a different turn, a violent turn, and the president had a different kind of message.
A very different message, a message actually of unity, and a message that I think brought the temperature down. It was a message
that brought the temperature down. Like the fact that these fucking people have no ability to recognize how dumb they sound and how fucking stupid they are compared to, again, what we know that's taking place in reality, why people are so angry, why this may have taken place in the first, in the first place. It's like the fact that they were now talking about this, and it's not the fact that like Donald Trump is trying to utilize obviously the worst of the worst situations to his political benefit, as he always tries to do, as they continuously try to do, right? I mean, in this regard, now he's preying upon and the fact that these people were also in the vicinity and are going to feel some sort of attachment to this situation. And now all of a sudden it's going to be like I said, like this kumbaya moment. And Stelter's just dumb enough to fall for this. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of them aren't. Some people, again, a lot of it is independent media, independent journalists, independent creators that aren't falling for it. And a lot of the mainstream media are falling for it like they continue to do time and time again. But again, we don't need to dive into any more of, Brian Stelter's bootlicking. We'll go into just the second half of what he says here as far as Jesse's response, though.
Very well could have turned around and tried to blame the press. He could have immediately tried to claim that the press was out to get him. Now, in this case, with the suspect, we don't know what he was thinking. We don't know if this event was just a crazy magnet. Oh, we don't know. But you imagine a world where an American president could have easily tried to make a bad situation even worse.
And he's trying to.
A very American gesture. You got something in and around your mouth, Brian Stelter. Yeah, go run to the bathroom and get yourself put together. You got JBF hair, brother. What is that? What's the compulsion here? I'm asking the question. What's the motivation here? Did Brian Stelter, did he have a traumatic brain injury? Did he fall and hit his head in a mass panic to get away out of the ballroom at the Hilton in Washington, D.C. here?
And again, just talking about a little piece of the bootlick and the sycophancy. And again, the people that are hopping on this train of, again, oh my God, the unifier in chief. Oh, he could have done this, which he usually does. But, he didn't until he sat down with Norah O'Donnell for 60 minutes. Like he waited a whole 2.5 hours. Like, you know what I mean? It's like these people that are just willing to go on there, clap like seals without pointing out the historical facts, the historical references, why we're in this position to begin with, why people in this country might be pissed off to the point to do something like this. No, let's talk about, the bullshit and how we were in the same room and the traumatic experience and how we're glad that, Donald Trump didn't attack us. And again, without bringing up the fact that Donald Trump didn't get to do his speech. So when this event does take place within the next 30 days, as they try to say, how much he's, willing to go on and attack the free press, attack the media. I'm sure they're all going to look like assholes after this anyway, but let's see if we can move on to this next one. This one is talking about the lies, obviously coming out, or again, the miscommunications, the misinformation that's coming out from this White House correspondent shooting. And this was put on Instagram, and I do believe this is an ex-Army sniper. It says former sniper analyzes CCTV footage of Trump shooting. Stories aren't lining up. So we're going to look at this, and then afterwards we're going to look at a question that Todd Blanche took in one of his press conferences where he's flanked by Kash Patel and Jeanine Pirro. And we're just going to try to line that up because the report is asking, well, what you just said isn't really what's in the affidavit, right? That doesn't line up with what your own affidavit states. As far as a weapon being discharged, as far as who shot and who was hit and where all these shots came from. So let's take a look at this again. Former Army sniper. If I'm getting that right, I do believe it was Army. Taking a look at the CCTV footage and just like if there's anything that we need to pick up on, if there's any more information that's detailed, any discrepancies that we need to know about. Again, just doing a little bit more digging researching into all of the, like I said, discrepancies between what we see and what we hear. So let's see if we can dive into this. It says the official reports of the Trump Correspondents' Dinner shooting do not line up. Officials say that Cole Thomas, and it goes on here. I'll let him finish.
Let's go through the Trump shooting video footage frame by frame. So Cole runs through on hyperspeed, and it looks like a really chaotic scene. Everybody's surprised, pull their weapons. There's a lot of hidden shit in here that we're gonna go through frame by frame. So I want you to watch right there. That's where Cole, he bolts around that corner, right? Like fucking, he turns on hyperdrive, runs through. Watch that officer. He pulls his weapon out, pulls it out.
This one right here.
Points it at Cole, and then he fires once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I want you to watch where his line of sight is right there. He shoots directly into that officer, that middle officer. He goes down. Look at the middle guy. He goes down. Watch him. Falls to the ground, dude. All right, everybody. And then the guy that's running away, he turns around.
There's a guy on the ground right here.
He turns around. He's like, oh, shit. Did you just get shot? Goes to pick him up. Homeboy who got shot tries to stand up, falls back down right there. Falls back down because he just got blasted in the chest. The official reporting of this shooting does not line up with that CCTV footage. I think that this was a friendly fire incident, and I think they're trying to cover up the fact that one of the responding officers shot another officer in the bulletproof vest. I do not believe that Cole actually fired his weapon. So that's my analysis for now. Don't forget to follow me for the best takes on the internet. All right, let's.
And again, take it with a grain of salt, but if you can see there, it does in fact look like there are a lot of people in the line of sight, right? In the direct line of where you'd be firing. If in fact these shots were fired from where they look like they were fired, this person here, this one definitely looks like it discharges, pulls out the firearm, discharges some rounds. So again, as to whether or not the shots did come from the suspect's shotgun that he had, or if it was, again, this blue-on-blue friendly fire situation that they don't want to say took place, which, again, would just be another bad look, some more bad optics as far as this, like, ridiculous security nightmare, the security failure that we've seen here, amongst other things, again. So again, this is, let me just play this one more time of where they show him running down the corridor. You can see the people standing over here. Obviously, they're in, directly across from one another. So it's definitely plausible, especially if shots are fired, multiple shots are fired, that it could have been a friendly fire incident. And then after this, we'll check out on what Todd Blanche said in his response in the question that he got in his interview, his press conference.
Let's go through the Trump shooting video footage frame by frame. So Cole runs through on.
So right there, you can see him come through. This person already has their weapon pulled out. And again, whether or not they discharged or not, I'm sure it's, like you can see here on the screen, it's definitely hard to tell from the grainy images, the grainy video that we get there. But you can definitely see that multiple security officers do, in fact, pull out their weapons. But then again, it's hard to tell how many shots are fired, where they're fired. But it would kind of, like I said, just be plausible in this to suggest that them being where they are, if they did discharge their weapons, that if one of them was struck, that it was likely coming from one of the other officers, one of the Secret Service, or one of the security details there. But here is the question that Todd Blanche was posed here. This is posted again by Aaron Rupar. Question. It says, you mentioned you think Allen fired at least one shot, but it doesn't say that in the affidavit. Can you explain the discharging of weapons? Blanche goes on to say, I'm the acting AG. I'm not on the ground doing the investigation. So I'm telling you what I've been told. And if that information changes, I will sure to let you know, along with some other kind of back and forth, rhetoric. Let's see what he has to say here.
A little technical question. You mentioned that you guys, so far, you think that Allen fired at least one shot. That doesn't say that in the affidavit yet. So I'm just curious if you can explain the discharging of weapon charge at this point.
Well, he's charged with violating 924C, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence. So by definition, that charge means that it was discharged. I can tell you from what.
Well, that's what the charge means. Obviously, she's asking if you have evidence to provide to the people to confirm, to corroborate the fact that that charge is in fact what he should be charged with, if in fact that did take place, right? So the fact that you're just reading back the charge doesn't, again, confirm anything. as far as whether or not that firearm was discharged. And again, take this with a grain of salt. It may very well come out that he did in fact discharge the weapon, or it did in fact, the officer that was struck, it did come out from this guy's weapon, if it hasn't already been, changed to this moment. But again, from what they're telling us and what they've been able to prove and what's in the affidavit, it doesn't seem like they're able to confirm that or corroborate that to any extent besides just the charge that they've given him.
I know, with the understanding that we're a day and a half in, that this is a gun that he discharged. And as those of us that have ever shot one of these know, what happens when you shoot that is the casing stays inside the firearm, and then if you reload it, it pops it out. My understanding is that it was inside the firearm.
Right. So they want you to believe that this kid took all this time, all this effort, all this planning to get from California to Washington, D.C. with a couple firearms and some knives, stay in the hotel, get his stuff in the hotel, get all the way down to where he had to assemble, allegedly, the weapon in this like side room there before he ran through the magnetometers, before he ran into the security area, decided to fire off one shot at the multiple officers that were in the vicinity, and then just decided to say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not going to reload. I'm not going to pump this again, right? That one shot was enough. Next thing you know, that the people are shooting at him, and all of a sudden he was like, you know what? This is a little bit much. All the planning that took place, all of the shit that happened, all of the steps that I've taken to get to this moment, I didn't really prepare for shots coming my way. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to reload, and I'm just going to dive onto the ground. I'll let you guys tackle me, strip me naked, and put a little cloth over me. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. And of course, grain of salt, if it does come out that is in fact the case, then, we'll have to, eat crow, but it doesn't seem all that likely, all that plausible in that instance. But he goes on a little more here.
Hadn't been ejected, which means that it hadn't been pulled back again. But again, I want folks to understand, I'm the acting attorney general. I'm not on the ground doing the investigation. So I'm telling you what I've been told, and we'll, if that information changes, I'm sure that we'll let you know.
So he's giving you definitive answers, right? What I do know is that weapon over there was discharged. That's what he said. That's what I do know. But at the same time, telling you I wasn't there, I didn't do these investigations, and I'm just doing, I'm just telling you what I've been told at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like, is this confirmed? Do you have evidence, or are you just speculating? You covering up the fact that, one of the other officers was actually responsible for striking the officer in the vest, in the chest, and you're trying to make it seem like it was this weapon, it was this guy, to avoid those optics, the further embarrassment of the security nightmares, the security failures that were responsible for allowing this to happen in the first place, right? So, a lot of people bringing that response up from Todd Blanche as well. But what do you say we dive into the, I don't know if this is like the main topic, but a lot of people speculating, a lot of people talking about this as well. There was some moments in which really details not only the failures of the mainstream media, but also the really dire, desperate, dangerous situation that we're in as far as who's running this country, the leader of this country as far as that's concerned. But before we dive into the clips that I wanted to show you, what the hell do you guys make of this, right? What in the fuck is going on here? That's what I want to know. What in the hell is happening here? I mean, it almost looks like he's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man at this point. Like, did they put the Goodyear logo underneath him and decide to blow him up? Is it a bulletproof vest, bulletproof diaper? Like, what's the situation that's happening here? Why does he look like he just stuffed down about 742 Big Macs before he entered this conversation? I'm just curious. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this belt region. I don't know. You know what I mean? Likely some sort of bulletproof costume. But there was a couple of these funny ones put out too. Let me see if I can throw this one on your screen, because I thought you'd get a kick out of this one as well. Is this what's actually taking place behind his pants? Like if we somehow were to remove the situation, is that what's actually going on? Is that the likely scene that's causing those ripples in those creases? I'm just asking questions. Like Tucker Carlson, I'm just asking questions. You know what I mean? Come on. What do you guys think? I think it's plausible. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibilities for that to be like exactly what's taking place behind the scenes. You know what I mean? We all know his problems that he's got. We all know the problems that he's got. But some people speculate, and that could be the reason for the bulges in the blimp-like look that Donald Trump walked into this meeting, walked into this conversation on. But I do want to just get through, the main portion, the main aspect of this conversation. I won't fucking subject you to too much of it. I'm sure you've probably seen a few of the clips by now anyways, but this is the main aspect, the main part that people are talking about. A big part of it is the lack of pushback, right? The coward like fucking reaction by Norah O'Donnell, the lack of interjecting, the lack of bringing up facts and any pushback whatsoever, while also really fucking putting a spotlight on the, like I said, the desperate, dangerous situation that we're now facing because of this demented leader that we have at this point in time. Obviously, never a good look for anybody in any situation to have to go on national television and say, I'm not a rapist, I'm not a pedophile. Right? Regardless of what position you hold, regardless of what status you have, probably not good optics, not a good look to have to go on national television and say, I'm not a pedophile, I'm not a rapist. Another good moment in this, and I think this is, we talked about this last night on the Zoom. Sign up at patreon.com/Boston Brian to join in on the Zooms. Great conversation, great debate last night. Really do appreciate you guys. Love you guys for your support and obviously the conversations that we have. But we brought this up last night. I think this was a very unintentional moment by Norah O'Donnell. It was like an unintentional dunk on Donald Trump where, she's reading the manifesto of Cole Thomas Allen at this point. Am I getting it wrong? I always get it mixed up at that point. But she's reading the manifesto and the stuff that he said in the manifesto, talking about the pedophiles and the rapists that are in charge and wanting to get rid of them. And then Donald Trump lashes out, gets really pissed off, gives a really quick look at the camera, right? Because he's not too happy. He's willing that camera out of existence. With his eyes, he's trying to make that camera shut off as quick as possible. He just couldn't do it. But then again, he comes back and says, well, I knew you were going to talk about that, and we'll play the clip. But she says, oh, you think he was talking about you? Which, again, is a beautiful fucking comeback. Unintentional. So no credit, no pats on the back for fucking Norah in this instance whatsoever. It was definitely an unintentional dunk where she says, oh, I think she was trying to, remove herself from, the reaction that Donald Trump was obviously about to give. I think it was pretty clear that he was pissed off about that. So she was trying to, walk that back a little bit and be like, well, maybe he wasn't talking about you. But again, the way that it came across was like, oh, you think he's talking about you? So it was pretty beautiful. And I'm going to speed this up just a touch. That way we can hopefully get away with watching just about a minute and a half. And again, this is free, fair use. The President of the United States on 60 Minutes, for Christ's sakes. So if anybody has a problem with it, please don't. But again, this is just about a minute or two of that segment, again, where Donald Trump gets fired up, gets pissed off, and really lashes out because of what was written in the manifesto and the fact that Norah O'Donnell had the gall to read what was written about the person that's in the spotlight, that's in the fucking news right now, more than anything else. So here we go.
I don't want to say, and people don't like having it said that they were scared, but certainly, who wouldn't be when you have a situation like that? By that time, I think she realized ahead of time that that was more of a bullet than it was a tray. And she was, I looked at her face just a little while ago before I came. I saw the scene. They played it for me and, pretty
I'll skip
close
ahead.
up. And
within seconds, grabbing the vice president by his coat, lifting him up, bringing him out. Then the counter assault comes in. Took 10 seconds for them to flank you, Mr. President, and then 20 seconds to get you out. It looked chaotic. At one point, you were down. What was happening?
Well, what happened is it was.
What happened was he fell in his face. That's what happened. Clearly. He was sitting in his chair too long, probably didn't have the feelings in his legs because he's 87 fucking million years old, right? So he had the wobbly legs. He had the old jello legs, the old tingle feet situation going on. Couldn't get his feet underneath him, fell on his face, and they had to scoop him back up off the floor. That's clearly that's clearly what took place in that situation, I don't think we need to go back over that one.
Maybe it was a bad problem, different kind of a problem, bad one, and different than what would be normal noise from a ballroom, which you hear all the time. And I was surrounded by great people, and I probably made them act a little bit more slow. They said, wait a minute, let me see, wait a minute. So, I'm telling guys.
Just at that moment where it looks like you go sort of down with the service, you were telling them to wait?
Well, I know what happened is then I started walking with them. I started walking, and they said, please go down on the floor. So I went
the
down.
Lies that this guy has to tell. The fucking, we all saw it with our own eyes. Nobody in the world tells you to hit the floor as they're trying to hold you up. as they're trying to scoop you up off the floor, right? I mean, they were clearly trying to hold you up, trying to keep you moving, trying to get you going, and you were on the floor. That's the opposite of what we saw. That's the opposite of what took place in this instance. Jesus.
I was standing up, pretty much. I was standing up and then turned around the opposite direction and started pretty much walking out, pretty tall, a little bent over because I'm not looking to be standing too tall. And, but I was walking out. It was pretty about halfway there. And they said, please go down to the floor. Please go down to the floor. So I dropped it.
Bullshit. And the fact that he has to try to make himself look like an alpha by standing up tall in an active shooter situation, that just makes you out to be an idiot. That just makes you a moron. Like, I stood up tall. I made myself the biggest possible target on the stage with the spotlights that I was under. Like, you're a moron. That's why people say duck. That's why people say get low, get down. They don't say stand up as tall as you possibly can, make yourself the biggest target. So he's trying to make it seem like he didn't care. He's the big alpha strongman. When in reality, it just makes you a moron. That just makes you the first person that's going to get taken out on the battlefield, right? You're not going to be around long if that's how you continue to act. I got to tell you. But again, let me see if I can find this part, because I don't want to take up too much of your time with this, and just in case they try to take it off the show either.
She's very strong, smart. She got it. She knew what was happening. And obviously I'm the president, and I listened to what they said. Please disrupt. A little ways to go where you're exposed to the ballroom surroundings. And
I'm just going to go to where she reads his manifesto.
And I got up to do the event, if possible.
And how did he get that close with the place swarming with security?
I will say, look, I say it because I'm a big fan of the people, of law enforcement. And, some of these people, they may be crazy, but they're not stupid, and they figure things out. He ran 45 yards, they say, and he just went to it, and then, boom, he popped through it.
I love it. I love how he makes it seem like, we took all the precautions necessary. I mean, we did choose the lower grade of security, even though we had the entire succession of the United States government in one place at one time, not to mention all the other high profile people that were at that. But we choose the lower level of security. But I mean, all it really takes, Nora, is a guy that is kind of crazy, kind of a lunatic, but runs really fast. I mean, that's all it really takes at that point. Not much you can do when you got like a really fast, crazy guy with a gun. Who can defend against that, right? Like that's what he's saying, basically.
He ran like I think the NFL should sign him up. He was fast. When you look at it on tape, it's almost like a blur.
Right.
But it was amazing because as soon as they saw that, you could see them drawing their guns. They were so professional.
White House to brief, change your relationship with the press.
Listen, craziest thing. 0 people.
Stunning.
What did she ask him?
Mr.
Oh, here we
President.
go.
He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this. I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction?
You see that glance at the camera? You see that little glance at the camera? He is willing that camera out of existence.
And traitor to coat my hands with his crimes.
That right? Oh, I don't know if I can catch it. Let me see if I can catch it.
I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with.
There it is right there. There it is right there. He's willing that camera out of existence. He is just desperately hoping that their microphone in the sound gets cut out, or that thing just topples over, or the guy that's behind it has some sort of heart attack or medical emergency to stop this right now. That's what that look means. Like, oh, you fucking motherfucker, shit.
His crimes. What's your reaction
Well,
to
I
that?
was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people. Horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
You think he was referring to?
But you did, and we know that for a fact because you were held, legally liable for the assault of E. Jean Carroll. So we've been through this before, not to mention obviously the amount of times that you've listed in the Epstein files, your past relationships, all the parties that you've been to, how you've lived in close proximity to him for quite some time, all of the things that we do know.
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side.
Never was exonerated by any stretch of the imagination. No piece of evidence coming out to exonerate this guy. If anything, there's been clearly more attachment, right? Clearly more, relationships been found out as far as Donald Trump's friends, the Epstein files, Donald Trump himself, and the people responsible for the criminalities and financial crimes associated with all of that.
The plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things.
Yes,
but I said
exactly.
to myself, I'll do this interview, and they'll probably. I read the manifesto. He's a sick person, but
You should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are the
never,
gunman's words.
excuse me.
Yeah. And again, Nora O'Donnell just absolutely, not standing up for her journalistic integrity, not pushing back with the facts and the figures. Again, all of the obfuscation, all of the cover-ups, still not getting all the answers to the Epstein files, all of the fucking redactions, on top of bullshit, all of the laws that were broken by his administration, by the FBI, by the DOJ, and the laws that he signed into fucking law himself. The idiots, as far as that's concerned. But, it didn't take long for Donald Trump to again come out and was I not showing that on the screen that entire time? Or did I show that? I don't remember at this point. But yeah, it didn't take him long to go back into, you guys are the worst, you guys are evil, you guys are monsters, you guys are fake news. Right. So all of the, the Brian Stelters and the rest of these people that are like, oh, it's such a unifying moment. Apparently they didn't catch any of this interview or anything that Donald Trump said in the past that relates to Democrats or anything along those lines as well. But as far as people that voted for this and me not feeling bad for what they're now feeling in their day-to-day lives because of it, that brings me to this more perfect union clip here. This is just a short one detailing, and I know I played one of these on the show, I think a couple weeks ago. I forget where in the country it was, but similar aspect of people that had voted for Donald Trump, a very heavily Trump-favored district that had been feeling the crunch, whether it was fuel prices or energy prices. Again, somebody's going to have to remind me in the chat. But here's another one of these. Their electric bills are twice their mortgage. Private equity wants to make it worse. And again, you can see he's still wearing the Trump hat right now at the time of this. So let's just see if we can dive into this, again, more perfect union video detailing the, what people are feeling as far as, the result of their vote, right? Right now they voted for it. And I have a problem kind of feeling empathy, compassion, and sympathy for people that put us in this position with their votes. So let's see if we can check this out real quick. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys.
What is the latest electric bill that you can remember paying?
Our latest was $593. Last month it was $603. I have never, ever paid that kind of money.
This winter I received a center point bill for $839.32. That is double my mortgage.
Double her mortgage. So she said it was $839 or something along those lines. Double her mortgage is what she had to pay for her energy bill.
I'm here.
And where was that? That was in what? Indiana, I believe it said. Let me see if I can.
This is the most perfect revenge.
What is the latest electric?
Indiana.
I have $593.
Yeah. Resident in Evansville, Indiana.
That is double my mortgage.
I'm here in Evansville, Indiana.
And again, I probably could have waited about 13 seconds and he would have told us that anyway. Jump the gun once again, Brian.
Residents have seen one of the highest rate hikes in the country.
People are going without medicine or taking their medicine every other day instead of every day. People are going to food banks because they can't afford to buy food. People are not paying other bills so that they can satisfy the Centerpoint bill and not have their electricity cut off.
Energy should be available to everyone. It should not be a luxury item, and it's become a luxury item.
Centerpoint Vice President Mike Rader says the new rate increase.
And again, this should be brought up to everybody sitting down with Donald Trump. Hey, do you think that maybe it's plausible, it's likely that because of the hurt that you're putting on not only this country, but the rest of the world at this point, maybe kind of leading us towards this political violence, the uptick in political violence that we've seen, like your rhetoric, the shit that you've been saying, the policies that you've been enacting, all of the lies that you've told the American people and the world, the wars that you've gotten us involved in, the war crimes that we've committed, the Americans that have been shot in broad daylight in the streets of the United States, your ICE Gestapo going around the country and ripping people out of home. Like, do you think that maybe might have and led to a little bit of the anxiety, the frustration, and the anger now seen here by the American people, right? You think a little bit of what was seen here on this is could lead to it too? So from both sides?
Will initially start with a $7 bump to the average customer's monthly bill, and that rate will increase to over $25 every month by the end of the year.
What I'm holding is a chart showing the amount of people who are 60 days behind in paying their bill. When the first phase of our rate increase occurred in March, you can see that giant spike, and we're all the way up to folks owing $4.9 million in arrears.
And while Hoosiers are squeezed by skyrocketing bills, Wall Street's takeover of utilities continues to spread across the Midwest. Just last month, AES was bought by BlackRock for $33 billion. Like Centerpoint, AES is a member of Indiana's Big Five utility companies. And clearly, BlackRock investors see an opportunity to cash in on rising utility rates with a high profit margin, knowing that consumers have no choice but to pay to keep the lights on.
I'm a senior citizen on a fixed income, and you have to decide between medications or buying certain foods or being able to rob one bill to pay another bill.
The solution to that, in my mind, is to put the public back in public utilities.
All night, we heard from people who said their bills were completely unaffordable, even if they were using less energy than ever.
I used more electricity on that day than any other day during that week. I was not even home.
Who quacks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's a duck. And there's something ain't right with this.
It's just one of the many.
And, you know, if only they put that like same thought, that same logic and reasoning into who they voted for, right? Into the people that they, you know, they put into positions of power. And again, I don't know. I can't even tell if he even associates this with the guy that's on his hat right now. Because again, for the people that are just listening, this guy that is now saying if it quacks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's a duck, is now still at this moment in time wearing a Trump hat. Right. So I've yet to hear anybody in this fucking clip actually relate that to Trump's presidency, to the lies that Trump told as far as cutting your energy bills in half. That is what he said. He would cut your energy costs in half, as well as everything else, groceries, gas, fuel, all of the shit that he said, all of the lies that he told. But they're not really relating that to him. Like, they're recognizing the high prices. They're recognizing, the danger that they're in, the dangers being posed, and how people are having to, mitigate between their medications and their energy costs and keeping the lights on, which again, in 2026 in the United States gives a clear indication as to the state of our society, right? People are choosing between keeping the fucking lights on and whether or not they can get their medication that they desperately need to stay alive in a lot of cases. So if that's not an accurate representation of where we are, but this guy here doesn't seem to connect the dots, doesn't seem to connect the fact that it's his vote. The people that a lot of the people in his area, if he's in the Indiana area, like the majority of the people that were in this were, that are responsible for getting him into this position because they believe the bullshit, because they believe the lies, because they didn't recognize that Donald Trump looking like a duck, quacking like a duck, walking like a duck meant he was going to fucking be a duck for everybody. And now they're just kind of realizing, oh, geez, I don't know what's happening. It must just be like the system that we're no. You voted to get yourself in this position. This is exactly what the fuck you voted for. And now you're feeling the repercussions just like everybody else in these areas, just like a lot of people in the chat are now feeling, and everybody else in this fucking country and around the world are at this point in time. So I just wanted to make that clear as far as like the ongoing realization by some people of the position that they're now in without actually making the connection of the people that they voted for, the people that they put in power, and the reason that they're now feeling that crunch. Like, it's the same thing that we've seen with like the political commentators to a certain extent. And I know that that barrier has been kind of kicked down recently as far as people directly naming Donald Trump, people directly associating Donald Trump with, why the polls are so bad, why so many people are frustrated, the dangerous situations that we're in. So we're seeing that a little bit more and more. But, to a large extent, these people are willing to call out Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, J.D. Vance, everybody else, the underlings, without pointing at the person that's in charge, the motive, the ability and the power that he has to enact this fucking theater, to order these people to cover up the Epstein files, to order Pete Hegseth to do this, that, or the other thing with the military. So they'll talk about the underlings, but they won't directly associate Donald Trump to all of it, by any extent. So let me see if we could throw these on here, because we got some Lego bangers to go through. Yep. You heard it right. Let me see if we can put these ones back on the screen. This is one by RFK. And let me see, because I hate how, I'll throw it on the screen, but I hate how Instagram doesn't let you control the video. So let me see. I'll throw this back on. Let me see if I can start it over for you guys. I got to go all the way back to the Gmail for a second. See if I can find that exact one. Let me see here. I think it was... let me see. Am I going to be good? What's this one say? Persia Boy. So it was a Persia Boy. Must be this one then. Give me a second. Bear with me. Yeah, it's this one. It's this one. So we'll play this one. Oh, am I muted? Probably. Nice. All right, let's go. This is the one I wanted to show you here. This is starting from the beginning. This is Persia Boy Hemat, who's been responsible for some of the better of the bangers coming out of the Lego field here. This is about RFK, titled RFK Raspy Loser, right? RFK Raw Milk Loser, drinking raw milk straight from the cows, and it cuts off, but I'm sure you guys can fill in the blanks on that one. So again, we got a few of these to go over. This is the first one here about RFK, titled Raspy Loser. It looks like we got some brainworm activity going on. So let me just make sure I'm showing the right one. Click on it. Here we go. Oh.
RFK in the White House. LMAO. RFK. Coke and cancer, you say it's aspartame.
You say coke and cancer? Jesus.
RFK. Raw milk champion with a worm in your brain. See? RFK, you the only one to blame. Yeah. Voice so raspy, sounds like gravel in your throat. Still out here warning pregnant moms about Tylenol, bro. Say it causes autism every single time. While your own voice trembles like it's committing a crime. Diet Coke, aspartame, you scream it causes cancer. Raccoon penis on the highway. That's your answer. Mercury and
Not the raccoon penis on the highway, dude. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. People hear this and like, that's got to be made up. That's got to be like, that's like a lunatic. Obviously, yep, that's who we have in our that's who we have in our government. That's who we have in our government. That's exactly who we have. Bears and shit too.
Atrazine turning frogs gay. Raw milk every morning. You the weirdest in the game. RFK. Coke and cancer, you say it's aspartame. RFK. Raw milk champion with a worm in your brain. RFK, you the only one to blame. Yeah. Brainworm eating your head, still dropping health tips. Raccoon dick on the side of the road. That's your eclipse. Voice strained and shaky, but you act like the savior. Health secretary, more like conspiracy flavor. Tylenol, coke, cancer, mercury, gay frogs in the water. Measles making comeback. You say, let the kids catch it, bro. RFK, you the biggest clown in the whole order. Yeah. Raspy voice, coke and cancer. Raw milk, raccoon penis. Brainworm, whoop, whoop. You the only one to blame. RFK. Coke and cancer, you say it's aspartame. RFK. Raw milk.
Jesus Christ. Hammering away at RFK on that one. Just absolutely doing RFK dirty on that one. But, you know, again, all of it really relating to the reporting that we've heard, the stories that we've heard, things that he's confirmed himself, right? So it's not, again, like there's a ton of made up shit in this. It's just making fun of what we actually are living in as far as the reality of the people inside the government in this case. But it goes on. There's more of these as well. There was another one. Here's this one by this is by a different group here. I think this is Akon, if I'm not mistaken. And this is, let's see, they're cooking again the pace of these releases. So it doesn't really say what it's about. Let's see if we can dive into it together, though. Here's another one here by the by the other group.
Sit down and listen, because the files don't lie.
Was this Epstein files?
Thousands of pages and the truth came to light.
Oh shit, it says Peter Thiel on it.
The House Oversight Committee dropped it all.
Peter Thiel, Palantir, co-founder, Thiel Capital. Peter Thiel, what's it say? Cochran, does it say Cochran something? And then just his name. Source, House Oversight Committee document exhibit 7C on the bottom.
And buried in the documents was Thiel's name on the wall. This ain't speculation and this ain't a game. Follow the money and you'll find who's to blame. From Silicon Valley to the halls of DC. Connect the dots and tell me what
you see. JD Vance connected to the man with the files.
Oh shit. JD Vance connected to the man with the files. What's it say down the bottom? Protect Ohio Values PAC, 15 million, largest single Senate donation in U.S. history at time of filing. So they're even dropping like legitimate fucking sources for all this nowadays.
Peter Thiel been building this 4 years, not miles. $15 million bought a Senate seat, Epstein emails.
Sure.
Show who Thiel chose to meet.
The billionaire vice president.
Says down the bottom, Trump endorsement plus $15 million tail investment, Vance polling surge 2022.
President and the convicted man.
All connected to the documents in the money trail plan.
Red-handed in the file.
For the whole world to see.
This is bigger than politics. This is history. Let me break it down from the very beginning. Before J.D. Vance was anywhere near winning, he was sitting in the Yale Law classroom chair when Peter Thiel walked in and changed the air. Called it the most significant moment of his time. A billionaire philosopher dropping lines. Thiel pulled him into venture capital next. Gave him a job and then wrote him a check. Mithril Capital was where Vance first landed. Then 15 million for a Senate race was handed. Protect Ohio Values was the super PAC name. Largest single Senate donation in the history of the game. Trump endorsed him, Thiel engineered the introduction.
Epstein tail correspondence source House Oversight Committee Exhibit 14F.
Meeting was the political seduction. Vance had called Trump cultural harem before. The deal smoothed it over and he opened up the door. Now Palantir, the company that Thiel co-founded, has $1.3 billion in federal contracts. Astounded defense and homeland security.
Now, the company that Peter Thiel founded has $1.3 billion in government contracts. So, Jesus.
Security and health all in line. The vice president's mental profit in every single time. JD
Vance connected to the man with the files. Peter Thiel been building this 4 years, not miles. $15 million bought a Senate seat, Epstein emails. Show who Thiel chose to meet.
The billionaire vice president
and the convicted man, all connected to the documents and the money trail plan.
Red-handed in the file
for the whole world to see.
This is bigger than politics. This is history. Now let us talk.
So that goes on again. And I think there's another one here, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't there another one that I had pulled up? I could be wrong. Let me see here. Go to that one. Go to that one. I thought I had another one in here somewhere. Was it this one? No, that was the brainworms one. Give me a second. I think I had it in my inbox here. Was it this one, that one, this one that I had? Artificial intelligence. There's a ton of them that I had here. This one. Give me a second. Nope, that's the one that we just heard. So then it's got to be this one. Corey, that's got to be this one then. Hold on. Nope, that's not it either. So maybe that was the only one that I had pulled up for you. I think there was another one that I had liked as well, but for some reason, maybe because of the limited storage space, the limited space I have to pull up any more tabs, I didn't pull it up. So my apologies on that one. But there was a few more of them that were absolutely cooking some individuals. We'll see if we can pull them up for the next couple of shows, as we always do. But what do you say we dive into this next story that I wanted to get into? Appreciate you guys for joining me. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Hit that like button. Make it worth your while for being here. Again, we're talking about the ongoing attacks at the Tuapse oil refinery as well. But let me see if we can throw this on the screen, because this was a story that I was kind of surprised to see as well. This is talking about how the Ukrainian government is cracking down on the Israeli purchases of stolen grain through Russia, which, again, was a little surprising to hear, but at the same time, not all that surprising to hear. Supposedly our closest ally, making it so that Russia is profiting and that they're gaining off of stolen grain. In this, it doesn't really state whether or not that Israel knew exactly where this was coming from. But again, if you're purchasing grain from Russia, I mean, it's pretty, it would be prudent of somebody to assume that it's coming from some sort of criminality or in legal engagements. This was put out by Kagan Dunlap, and I do have to make it known, not a huge fan of Kagan, but he had the reporting on this. So let's see if we can put this on. He's also talking about, above him, you can see a statement from Volodymyr Zelensky, and I do believe he goes on to read it, so I'll let him kind of take over from this. But again, this is detailing the purchasing of stolen goods, including grain from Russia by Israel. So let's see if we can dive into this.
On the 28th of April of 2026, President Zelensky of Ukraine made an announcement on his X account saying that Russia was selling stolen grain from occupied Ukrainian territories and exporting it and selling it to Israel. Now, he didn't directly blame Israel in the post, saying that they were knowingly purchasing stolen goods from Russia, but he did announce that they were putting together sanctions packages that will cover those that are both directly transporting the grain and individuals and legal entities that are attempting to profit from it as well. He also went on to say that they're coordinating with European partners to ensure that the relevant individuals are included in European sanctions regimes as well. And then the last thing that he kind of mentioned was that Ukraine kind of counts on partnership and mutual respect with every state, and that they're working to enhance security, particularly in the Middle East region, and that he expects Israeli authorities will respect Ukraine and refrain from actions that undermine their bilateral relationships. Now, again, he's not like directly accusing Israel of knowingly doing this stuff, but he's bringing it up because at least based on what he's saying in the post, he believes that they are inadvertently purchasing grain, not knowing that it's from stolen Ukrainian grain stores in occupied territories.
And again, I think that's a little bit of Zelensky being the statesman, right? I think that's a little of him doing the geopolitical dance. Again, it's pretty difficult for anybody at this point to state if they're buying goods, anything from Russia, whether it's oil, goods, grain, anything along those lines, that it didn't somehow come from them, in illegal activity, or it doesn't go to help them profit or continue, engaging in the wars that they're in. So it's stupid to think that anybody was dumb enough to be like, oh, we didn't know that this could possibly come from stolen Ukrainian grain in an illegal war that Russia is involved in that we're now purchasing. But to hear that Volodymyr Zelensky is cracking down both on the sale by the Russians and also the purchasing of the different countries that were purchasing those grains and goods is good to see. Again, I was a little surprised and not surprised at the same time to see that reported this morning and put out on on X, on Twitter, I should say, by the Ukrainian president. But just to kind of keep everybody up to speed, and again, the ways in which that Israel continues to work against the relations of the United States, against the relations of the United States and our other allies. Another piece of the puzzle to suggest that. But what do you say we go on to a little bit of the Tuapse oil refinery? Because boy, oh boy, have they been having a tough time, ladies and gentlemen. They have not been having a good time at this specific facility, to the point where MAGA's birds actually put out here, Hawk Tuapse. I mean, come on, talk about an American reference there. Talk about a fucking, a bar, if you will. MAGA's birds coming out. Everybody knows or I'm sure to some extent is aware with the whole Hawk Tua situation. Well, in this case, now making a reference to the Hawk Tuapse as far as the oil refinery. I thought it was clever myself. He says Russians celebrate the special military operation. They love it. And this is, again, being extremely facetious, as you are now seeing on your screen. I believe evidence of the third recent strike by the Ukrainians on this facility. And again, let's just see if we can watch a little bit of this. Let me see if I can throw this on your screen real quick. So again, this is video footage, above and beyond what we showed on the last couple shows of the huge plumes of smoke, of the huge fires that have broken out over 2 different attacks on this same oil refinery facility in Tuapse. Well, they went back at it, and again, it's burning again. You hate to see it, that the Russians are just carelessly smoking once again near these fucking highly flammable and toxic facilities. It's ridiculous how careless they are with those Russian cigarettes. But apparently somebody may have flicked one a little bit too close to the flames, a little bit too close to the oil. Here's another vantage point, another view, another angle of that. Look at the size of that. I mean, that's crazy. So again, you can see the size of the destruction, the size of the problem, the size of the fire that is, now in the hands facing the Russians, and what to do with that for the third time. Let's see here. Here's a quick Al Jazeera update kind of on that situation as well. It says Ukraine hits Russia's Tuapse refinery for a third time, causing new blaze and an evacuation. And again, this is just real quick. See if we can dive into the updates and information on what we know about this third strike now by the Ukrainians on this facility, looking like it's causing, again, substantial damage and a substantial headache for the Russians in the area.
Ukrainian drones have struck Russia's Tuapse oil refinery on the Black Sea, causing a fire, that's according to Russian authorities. Footage shows smoke billowing from the site. Officials ordered nearby areas to evacuate. The same refinery was hit earlier this month, leading to an oil spill and a blaze that took several days to put out.
Yeah, I mean, it does have to be said. It does have to be said that this is, on one hand, positive, on one hand beneficial to the Ukrainians, and on the other hand just an absolute disaster, right? I mean, we can kind of live within reality. I mean, the oil spills, the oil washing up on the shores of the different areas that have been affected obviously by these strikes and others like it is it's hard to see. It really is. It's definitely a part of this situation, a part of this war that it really brings it home. It really brings it in touch with reality, just how detrimental, just how dangerous, just how harmful these type of situations are. I mean, we could talk about all day the necessity for the Ukrainians to continue hammering away at the Russian oil supply, at their ability to conduct war, at their ability to profit off it, and obviously the need that they have for their military and the use that they have for fuel and oil, right? So obviously it's a military objective, but you can also talk about the devastation to the environment the same way that we talk about, the fiber optic cables that are having an impact, the drone netting. Yep, they save lives. They make it more difficult for the drones to get through. They make it so that the people that live in these areas can at least travel on these roads with some sense of safety, with some sense of protection. But at the same time, are there wildlife and birds and everything else getting caught up in that? I mean, there's just disaster after disaster after disaster that we're going to have to talk about, that's going to have to be corrected, that's going to have to be cleaned up. I mean, there's video after video going out there of people just scooping oil out of the sea with shovels at this point. It's so, it's so like gloopy, and it's so there's so much of it. So obviously some definite wildlife and geographical areas and problems that are going to be seen and faced from this. But again, that's just the realities and the hardships of the situation that Russia started, right? This wasn't anything that the Ukrainian people wanted to see. They didn't have plans to start striking these oil refineries, out of nowhere. If the Russians were to stay and mind in their fucking business and stay in their country, which they didn't do. But unfortunately, that is the position that's been thrust upon them. These are the targets that that are made clear. These are the things that Russia is utilizing to continue their war. So they make it legitimate. They make it a legitimate target. That's just what it is. It's unfortunate that there's dark sides of both of these things to talk about. But as is such the situation in a lot of these topics when you talk about wars, right?
Russia says Ukraine has been increasingly targeting its oil facilities. Audrey McAlpine joins us live now from Kiev. So the second time, Audrey,
I just want to see if there's any more information. How more if this was more successful, if this strike caused more damage from this reporter, and if not, we can dive on to a couple of the other clips that we have here. I believe there's one here also from, was it United 24? Yeah, I think it's United 24 detailing a little bit more about these attacks as well. So just so we can get all the information, let's see if we can dive into the rest of this.
This refinery town, Tuapse, has been hit. Do we know what has been impacted on this occasion?
Yeah, this is actually, in fact, the third time in the past 2 weeks that the Tuapse oil refinery has been targeted. On April 16th was the initial strike that caused fires to be struck throughout the refinery. And then again on April the 20th was an additional strike that relit those fires and took out 25 oil storage facilities within the refinery. And then again, we saw overnight additional strikes that have been claimed by the general staff of Ukraine's armed forces. And as you mentioned, Neve, this is a trend that we've been seeing really since mid-March or so, where Ukraine has targeted Russian oil refineries, both in the south and in the north, and really in response to growing sanctions, or rather the lifting of sanctions from the United States on Russia's oil.
And Audrey,
Right,
am I
like
right
we've
in
been
thinking-
saying, right? Like we've been saying here, they're doing their best to try to mitigate the benefits that Russia would be seeing, or are seeing, I should say, from the, the ease in sanctions, from the increase in the price per barrel of oil and their ability to sell that. So Ukraine has been consistently trying to, again, mitigate the benefit from that so that Russia isn't allowed to prolong this war with the ability to continuously profit off of the, the stupid, foolish, and illegal acts of Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, Jared Kushner, and the rest of these fucking tool bags. But that's, we've seen a pretty consistent theme here in Ukraine trying to, again, consistently hammer away at the ports. There's several ports, Ust-Luga, what was the other one? Was it Primorsk that we talked about as well? Tuapse being another one of these refineries. So again, Ukrainians not only showing the their ability to react to the current situation, but obviously the effectiveness they still have with not only picking targets out, but getting through air defenses. You would think at this point the Russians would learn that this is, a pretty substantial target for the Ukrainians, and would, if they could, send in some more support, send in some more air defenses, send in something to try to mitigate the, the damages seen here. But obviously that's not something that they're able to do. Obviously in a timely manner. This is now the third strike, right? Since in the last 2 or 3 weeks, as we've been talking about here on this same plant, on this same refinery here, and it's having the impacts, right? We've talked about the black rain, we've talked about obviously the environmental impacts, we've talked about the the people and the Russians crying and complaining about what's been going on as they're trying to live on stolen land themselves. But it persists, I should say, and it's something that we're going to continue to cover as this continues to push on. Again, going into the spring and summer offensives here, as I believe I heard friend of the show Philip Bittner talking about the other day, we are on the opposite side to a certain extent of the Rasputitsa, of the mud season. That again hampers to a huge effect the armored personnel, the armored vehicles, the tank movements and stuff like that. So we're on the opposite side of that, where the ground is firming up, the weather is getting better, the days are getting longer, which is again leading to more action on both sides. So again, as long as the momentum stays on the side of the Ukrainians, it's going to be a good thing. We'll be here to cover it, but we're also going to be here to cover all of the other different aspects of what's going on, to stay grounded in reality. We don't just talk about the successes, we don't just talk about the good things that are happening, but obviously if there's other instances on the battlefield, if there's other instances on the front line that we need to discuss and it's not going so well for the Ukrainians, that's very important to discuss as well, because you don't want to be blindsided. You don't want to be all of a sudden be like, oh, what happened? Like the Germans in World War I, where they thought they were winning every victory. Next thing you know, they capitulate and everybody's wondering why. So that's just not something that I'm going to have happen as well. So let's see if we can. I want to throw this one on as well. What time is it? 3:42. So yeah, let me see if I can throw this one on the screen. I'll bring it over here. For some reason, it's not muting me anymore. Like my computer was, I think StreamYard was having a fit for a little while. Every time I touched that screen, it would mute me. But here's another one I wanted to throw on the screen, and I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. This is more of a frontline update. We continue to try to touch base on all of the different aspects, whether it's the Russian launches and strikes inside of Ukraine, whether it's the Ukrainian strikes inside of occupied territories or Russian territory itself, or the frontline updates. This is, again, another update from the Sun. The battle plans exposed portion or segment of them, and it says Russians retreat in Lyman marks major Ukraine battlefield win. Also talking about the ongoing push, and you can see on the screen how he's showing that, like, I'm not sure what the correct military term is for that, but you can see kind of the linking of those towns, villages, and cities to try to create that barrier that I was trying to bring up, that I was trying to detail on the map. I forget what, last week or a couple shows ago. So let's see if this can give us a better representation, a better visualization of what I was talking about and how Lyman at the very north of this, is coming into play right now. So let's see if we can take a look at this. I appreciate you guys for joining me, all of your support for both domestic issues and obviously geopolitical issues outside of the United States as well. So Slava Ukraina, Heroyam Slava. Thank you for your support and supporting the fundraisers and campaigns that we're involved in. Hopefully one of the guests upcoming you'll be, you will recognize. We've played a lot of his stuff. I won't go and give it away just yet, but hopefully we can set that up for, an upcoming show. All right, let's dive into this before I waste too much time.
Russia has suffered staggering record losses in personnel this month. Putin continues to deploy meat grinder tactics of throwing as many bodies as possible.
The first opening line. Listen to the opening line in what he says here. Ready?
Russia has suffered staggering record losses in personnel this month. Putin continues to deploy meat grinder tactics of throwing as many bodies as
staggering losses this month, which we've continuously referenced, right? The uptick in the amount of dead and wounded on the Russian side has been a huge story in recent weeks. So the fact that we're talking about this now and that Russia continuously sends in people in this meat grinder wave is not boding well, is not kind of faring well for what the spring and summer offensives are going to look like for the Russian side. You know what I mean?
Possible into an offensive. Ukraine continues to demonstrate resilience on the front lines, holding critical ground. And Ukrainian drones have wiped out 2 Russian warships right under the despot's nose. As Britain prepares to send 120,000 drones to Ukraine and Vladimir Putin fortifies air defenses around his residence, there are fascinating developments in Ukraine. I'm Philip Ingram, and this is Battle Plans Exposed. This month, the Kremlin's forces have suffered a catastrophic 35,000 casualties, the highest monthly rate of the war to date. But it is
35,000 casualties in a month. I mean, it's astronomical. It really is fucking hard to put that into terms, into words that people in the United States could really kind of, get a grip on. It's almost impossible.
It isn't just the numbers that are shocking, it's the how. President Zelensky has announced a statistic that should have every commander in Moscow looking over their shoulder. Drones caused a staggering 96% of Russian losses in March. With the UK's new package, the largest of its kind, delivering thousands of long-range strike, reconnaissance and maritime drones, Ukraine is moving from adaptation to total industrialization. President Alexander Stubb of Finland recently noted that Ukraine is in its best position in months, while Kyiv warns
Ukraine is in its best position in months. And we continue to talk about how that is like a really good position to be in, not only in any point during a war, but also at the point we're talking about now where the offensives are going to start ramping up. And again, if he can continuously get this kill ratio, the amount of Russians taken out compared to the amount of Ukrainians removed from the battlefield, if we can continuously see the uptick in that as far as on the Russian side is going to be good to see. Obviously, if we can continuously see them take back territory that was once taken by the Russians is going to be demoralizing for the Russian military. If we continuously see the amount of drones and the efficacy of the drones, I mean, at the same time, we're talking about the highest rate of Russians removed from the battlefield. We're talking at, simultaneously about the statistic of 96% of those that were removed by drones. That's fucking crazy. That is a crazy statistic and tells you, really what we've been saying and where warfare is going and how much drones are going to be utilized and how much they should be feared, obviously, right now, and how it would be, very smart of different militaries to, again, continuously working side by side with the Ukrainians so that they're not left in the dust, so they're not trying to play catch up with the drone activity, with the drone warfare and the advances made in that technology. So again, it would be wise of people to continuously work with them. Like you just said, I think it was 120,000 drones being sent by the UK to Ukraine, which is another good sign, another good thing to see.
They're now capable of building millions of drones per year. Before we look at some of the key changes on the front lines of Ukraine, let's take a look at some of the clips from the battlefield this week.
Let's do.
So footage released by the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces shows soldiers infiltrating behind enemy lines and neutralizing Russian positions. In this dramatic video, Ukrainian Special Forces operators move silently through dense woodland, closing in on the Russians in contested territory. Now watch here as the Ukrainian soldiers blend into the terrain and launch a surprise offensive. The team appears to execute.
And again, you can see how quickly the terrain changes. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago that this was all barren. Everything was covered in snow. Everything was mud. Everything was soaking wet. I mean, you can see clearly how, rapidly the battlefield changes, and now, the different, the different dangers, the different things that you have to deal with as far as, cover, what you're wearing, how to blend in, all those things.
To precision strike before entering into a fierce gun battle on the ground. Ukraine says its unit suffered minimal losses in the victory, with only one operator sustaining minor injuries. What it does show is that the close battle in dense undergrowth is still something that is happening on the front lines. This is still a guttural war between human beings. We talk of drones, we talk of ones that fly, we talk of unmanned ground vehicles, but at the end of the day, it's soldier closing on soldier, and the Ukrainian Special Forces are particularly good here. This next clip from the front lines illustrates the importance of Allied support for Ukraine. As a Ukrainian brigade deploys its German-made and supplied flak panzer, the Gepard, to intercept aerial threats. Footage shows the Gepard in action as it shoots down an Iranian-made Russian Shahad UAV drone in real time, eliminating the enemy threat in the skies. The flak panzer, or the Gepard, is a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun that functions by combining a mobile Leopard 1 tank chassis with a sophisticated radar-guided fire control system and twin 35mm cannons. It's designed.
I mean, obviously not a bad thing to see more and more of those on the battlefield. Again, that would be a lot more effective than, some of the instances in which we've talked about in like Kherson, where you got just basically roving units of soldiers walking the streets, hoping to engage an overflying drone and take it out before it can get to where the rest of their troops are established and where they're positioned. So again, if we can continuously get the robotics involved and people that are behind armor and inside an encapsulated unit to take down these air threats, to take down the drones, to take down the Shaheds, obviously that's going to keep more and more of the Ukrainian soldiers safe, along the lines of the robotics that we were talking about in the last couple of shows. The drone factory that we had the instance in honor of touring in Kyiv, and how that's being utilized to again exfil soldiers from the battlefield being injured. So the robots, the robotics, the drones, you can see how it's spreading to all different facets of the war, all different facets of military use. And it's something that we've seen basically in real time in front of our own eyes. I mean, what doesn't feel like it was that long ago, really, that we were looking at these, very small, very, private use like drones just dropping regular grenades through rooftops, through sunroofs, into tanks and stuff like that. Now look where we are as far as the drone war is considered. But I'm going to skip ahead just a touch here where he talks about the frontline linemen and kind of that, established line of defense that the Ukrainians are utilizing here, just to give us a better idea of what's going on and what I was explaining the other day.
And you have to do it all over again. The intensity of frontline warfare is clearly shown in this video. Now let's pivot to the front lines in Ukraine. A key part of Ukraine's fortress belt is under attack in Kostantinivka. In the early hours of April the 17th, the Russians continued their desperate push across eastern Ukraine, but they were met with the unwavering steel of the Ukrainian armed forces. According to the latest operational updates from the Ukrainian General Staff, forces repelled at least 40 assaults within a single 24-hour window. Russia has carried
40 assaults within a 24-hour window. I mean, that's one hell of a push. I mean, that's not just kind of like a meager attempt at taking over a situation or at attempting a change on the front lines. That's a pretty consistent push that was defended against by the Ukrainians. So again, showing their ability, showing the consistency that they still have to mitigate these attacks by the Russians that they try to pose.
71 airstrikes, dropping 253 guided aerial bombs. And Russian forces also used 7,767 kamikaze drones and conducted 2,916 artillery strikes. The most intense pressure is being felt in Kostantinivka, but it's also being felt in Pokrovsk, which remains the primary target of Russian ambitions in the east. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian forces have launched 10 attempts to dislodge Ukrainian troops from defensive positions, with fighting continuing in at least one area, as Putin continues to deploy meat grinder tactics of throwing as many bodies as possible into an offensive. Ukrainian defenders managed to repel 42 separate Russian assaults in the hotly contested Pokrovsk region, and that's only this month, as forces stand up to what is being thrown at them quite robustly. Elsewhere along the front, the situation remains large.
And that's going to frustrate the hell out of the Russian troops, man. You know, when you're talking about 40 different assaults in a single month, not having much effect, basically, you know, losing people every single attack, losing, equipment, vehicles, commanders, every single attack, while not seeing much from that. Again, we'll have, a psychotic detriment, let's just say, to the frontline troops. But, you know, to show you a little bit, let me throw this on. Hopefully this doesn't mute me. Nope, I'm not muted as it says, but this is just a quick look again for anybody that's new to the show, anybody that didn't catch the episode that we were talking about, in which we were kind of detailing what he's talking about on the front lines as far as this kind of, this defensive ring, you can call it, right? So he's talking about Lyman, which is here. And then if you go here, Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, right, Drushivka, and then you go all the way down here to Konstantinivka here. It creates that kind of that ring, that chain of defenses in this area in which they're hoping to kind of corral the Russians in and definitely keep them as far away from those kind of towns, villages, and cities as humanly possible. But it's a little bit easier to see as he details it on his map a little bit. But just to kind of show you on the real world deep state map what that looks like and what territories we're talking about, that was that. Let me see here, because he kind of puts it in a little bit easier to calculate visually, at least, portion.
Unchanged, with no confirmed advances by Russian forces. Separately, Ukraine's military intelligence has warned that Russia may be preparing a new ground offensive in the southeast, with a stated objective of capturing the entire Donbass region by September. They've said this several times beforehand. The chances of the Russians capturing the whole of the Donbass region by September 2027 or 2028 is highly remote, never mind September this year. Despite the continued pressure, Ukrainian defense forces say that they are holding their positions and continue to repel the ongoing attacks. What we're likely to see over the next coming weeks and months is a continuation of the effective stalemate that there is on the front line. As we mentioned at the top of this video, Russia has suffered staggering record losses in personnel this month. One of the areas where Russia has had to fall back and pull troops away is in the city of Lyman. According to emerging reports, Ukrainian units have pushed Russian forces out of parts of the area, reclaiming approximately 4 kilometers of territory in and around the city of Lyman. In the Battle of Lyman, the fighting in this sector has been intense. Ukrainian ground troops, supported by drone units, mounted a determined defense that appears to have stalled Russian offensive efforts.
Good.
Analysis suggests that a combination of sustained resistance and reported manpower shortages on the Russian side contributed to the setback. Lyman has been a strategically important objective, serving as a key logistics and transport hub.
Well, I mean, it's very clear looking at the map there as to how important it is for not only the Ukrainians, but why it's as of the importance as it is to the Russians, right? I mean, you can see the northernmost flank of this kind of this shield, so to speak, that these towns and cities have created here. Again, if you can eliminate that northernmost point, if you can take out the northernmost defensive line, the defensive structure, so to speak, as we're talking about this line and string of cities, then you can see how difficult that would make it on these, the surviving or the towns and the cities and the villages that are left in that defensive ring, that defensive structure. So again, if you can clamp down on Lyman, clamp down on Sloviansk, obviously you can see how difficult of a situation that would make just for Konstantinivka and Kramatorsk itself. So the defense of Lyman, very, very vital for the Ukrainians to uphold. Again, this shield, this defensive line that they've managed to maintain and keep the Russians away from. You can see obviously the closest portion being the Russians to one of these cities. Looks like it's there in Lyman. So good to see that the Ukrainians were able to at least take back and push them out of some territory. Any territory going towards the Russian border is good, and not the other way. So good thing to report there. But let me see if there's anything else, and then we'll get you guys out of here for the day.
Has been a strategically important objective, serving as a key logistics and transport hub in the Donetsk region. Russia's inability to secure control of the area is being viewed as a significant obstacle to its broader ambitions of developing deeper into eastern Ukraine. This is very damaging to Russia's ambition to further advance in the Donetsk Oblast, with many casualties and losses reported, and Russia forced to retreat and regroup. Now, the key to Lyman is this defensive belt of Lyman, Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinivka.
So this is what I was trying to explain, and probably not in the most articulate of ways. Again, like I keep saying, I can't even say the word articulate, so don't expect much from me. But this is what I was trying to get you guys to visualize, is obviously from Lyman to Konstantinivka, this kind of defensive belt that, you know, kind of utilizes or makes up a structure, defensive structure that the Ukrainians are utilizing to their benefit. So obviously a little bit more visually better represented here by the sun.
And that's why we're seeing the Russians trying to push in from the south and from the north. Of course, Bakhmut took the Russians almost 2 years to try and capture. They've moved a little beyond that. But these cities and this defensive belt make the defenses in Bakhmut seem like something that was put together in a very amateurish way.
So basically what he's saying there is the amount of defenses set up within that belt, within those towns, villages, and cities there, in comparison to the defenses and what the Russians had to go through in Bakhmut, which took them about 2 years, as he stated there, and they haven't gone much further since. Here, I can throw this back on too. So, I mean, you can see that they really haven't made a ton of distance up after their 2-year battle, in that area. So you can see the fact that they have Sloviansk, Krematorsk, Konstantinivka here. The fact that they haven't gone much past Bakhmut, There's Bakhmut here. Really, in the time since they've taken that, haven't gained too much territory. Just goes to show that they're going to have some sort of, some more difficulties, let's just say, getting through these defensive areas, these defensive structures, towns, and villages. Much more than they did have in Bakhmut. And as we know, it took them quite some time and quite a lot. Did I not have that on the screen, or did I have that on the screen? Did I not? I thought I did. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Sorry. All right. My apologies. I'll do that again. My apologies. Well, here's Bakhmut, because I wasn't showing you to begin with, and I'm an idiot. My apologies. Here's Bakhmut, right? So 2 years of struggles. Who knows? God knows how many casualties and deaths. God knows how many vehicles and pieces of equipment lost to try to take Bakhmut for the Russians. But you can see they clearly haven't gone much. You can actually get a ruler out here. We'll say from the farthest point to Bakhmut is about 10 miles. About 10. We'll give them 11 miles, 10 and a half miles from Bakhmut to like the furthest position here. So you can see that really not much territory gained. So to see that they're having that much difficulty taking Bakhmut and getting in that position, and now as we talk about, we can even utilize this. Here's that line of towns, villages, and cities that we were talking about. So to get through that is going to be one fucking big nightmare. If they actually do try to attempt it, it is going to be astronomical as to, again, the amount of soldiers they have to expend and the amount that they have to throw into that meat grinder if, in fact, it does come to that position, which is a good sign to see that the Ukrainians are fighting back in Lyman up here to take back more of the territory, to push the Russians back and make sure that they can't clamp down on at least that northern sector of that defense structure, the defense ring that they have set up there. But I'll see if I can get you guys out of today. We'll get to thanking some people. I do appreciate you guys very, very much. Again, covering the embarrassment of Donald Trump in his reception of King Charles and Queen Camilla. Just something that will again never ceases to amaze me how embarrassed we could possibly be. And every time the guy opens his mouth on the world stage, it is just a worse and worse situation. We just find ourselves in a worse position. So I appreciate you guys for sticking with me as we go through all of the nonsense, all of the bullshit, the lies being told, all of the discrepancies. Let's just say thank you to the mods for all that you guys do. I really do appreciate it. What do you say we get into thanking some people on the old Venmo machine? Anybody that was kind enough to send in a Venmo, which is up here in the corner. For anybody that has, a camera phone, you can take a quick photo of that, sends you right to the Venmo, $1 or $2. All we ask for, anything above and beyond that's totally 100% up to you and your financial capabilities. But we do appreciate anybody that does contribute to the show. Let's see if there's anybody nice enough today. I want to say thank you first and foremost to Victoria. Thank you, Victoria S., for your $10 contribution today. Very nice of you to do. Great live stream today, Brian, as always. Boss Brian, keep them coming. Thank you. Well, thank you, Victoria. Very nice and kind of you to do and say. Very much appreciate that. And then over the last couple of days, thank you so much to Mark L. Thank you so much to Roxanne. Thank you to Yakov. Thank you to Claudia. Thank you to Geneva. Thank you to Nina. Thank you to Roger. Thank you to V. Sawyer. Thank you to Kristen. That's Kristen D, in case there's any other Kristens out there. Thank you to Kathy A. Thank you to Dame C. Thank you to Mike Z. I think these all are rhyming at this point. Thank you to Jennifer E. Thank you to Roger C. Karen E. Barbara M. Oh, you ruined it, Barbara. What'd you go have to do that for? I appreciate you guys over the last couple of days. Anybody that's kind enough to send in a buck or two to try to support independent media, resistance media, I appreciate it. It goes to show the type of person you are, and we appreciate it a lot here at Blunt Politics. What do you say we get into thanking the YouTube peeps over here? Peter started off in the right direction today with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's fucking go, Peter. I appreciate you, brother. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for your kind contributions. 5 people in the chat, thanks to Peter, getting a membership for the month, free of charge because of the generosity. So please, W's Peter in the chat. Same for Luis here. Thank you so much to Luis. More than 2 years of fucking loyalty here from this guy. Will you look at this guy? Would you look at him? Would you look at him? The stage attack didn't help him. As Hal Sparks says, red to purple, purple to blue. Let the blue wave destroy everything Trump did. Appreciate you, Luis, for your kind contributions. Absolutely a necessity that we do, in fact, try to turn the red to purple, purple to blue. Very much agree with that as well. So, Luis, thank you so much. Thank you, Jeff, for everything that you do, my brother. Thank you for being here for 1 year. Let's go. Nice cut. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Back to being the man rocket you are. What? Come on. Don't make me blush on screen, for crying out loud. But I appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you, Luis. Again, at Boston Brian needs a better haircut or hairstyle. Reminds me of being forced to get a picture from my mom to look nice. Well, that's not very nice. Jesus, Luis. I don't even see your picture anywhere. Huh? So you can't be that good looking. You can't be fucking that. You can't have that much confidence in your hairstyle. I don't see a picture anywhere. And I'm kidding, of course. I appreciate that. I appreciate the call out. I appreciate that, Luis. Thank you for the 5 at least, I guess. But thanks to Carl as well for the 5 gifted memberships. Very much appreciate you, Carl. OG of the show. W's Carl in the chat for the gifted memberships. Another 5 people in the chat getting another round of memberships thanks to some gifting and some fabulous people in the chat. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much to Carl. Thank you to Bicycle Mike, F Trump, F Cancer. Absolutely. Second that wholeheartedly. Hope you're doing well, Mike. Good to see you as always. Good to see you in the chat, my friend. Thank you so much to Chris. Thank you for the $5. Approximately how far is Brian Stelter's head up his own rear end? Pretty fucking far, which is crazy because of how fucking big his head is. Surprising that he could get it up that far, but he does. They manage it there. You know, it never ceases to amaze me how these fucking, these inflexible fat people and incompetent hacks can tie themselves into knots and just twist themselves like pretzels. You know, they don't seem to be that flexible, but they do it every single day. So, Chris, I appreciate that. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you, No Money G. 11 months. We're going on a year, man. We're going on a year. Let's go. It's going to be a celebration. We're going to be popping some champagne. Love your show. Keep it up, guy. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, No Money G. All the respect in the world to you and everybody else that supports this show. Thank you so much to Kim Chi Key. Appreciate that. Remember, for 15 months. Let's go. Hit the like. Thanks so much. I appreciate that, Kim Chi, for all of your support. Very much appreciate seeing you in the chat all the time. So thank you so much. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you to Just Saying. Let's go. Another 5 gifted memberships to another 5 fantastic motherfuckers in that chat. Thank you so much, Just Saying. I appreciate you. W Just Saying. And thank you to everybody gifting those memberships out there. Hope everybody that receives one goes on to thank the person that obviously was responsible for giving it to you. Thank you to JD as well. Sassy hairdo bonus. See, I think it's divided. I think the chat's divided. I don't know. I'm not sure. Some people like it. Some people hate it. I'm not sure. I don't like the whole Olin Mills class picture fucking comment. I know that, Luis. I don't know what that was all about, but I'll be thinking about that all day now. No, I'm kidding. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Brenda. 17 months. Really do appreciate that. Thanks, Brian. No, thank you. As I always continue to say, it is only because of you guys and the help and your support that we're able to do this. So you guys deserve all the credit. Thank you to Yakov for the $2. Missed Zoom penalty. Forgot. All good, brother. All good. Not a problem. That's why we got 4 of them for the month. Just in case anybody's got something going on, we can always make up for it in, on another Zoom. So I appreciate you guys for all your help, especially being a mod down there, Yakov, and all that you do. No apologies necessary, my friend. You guys have been and continue to be fantastic. And like I said, I appreciate everybody showing up for the Patreon Zoom last night. Fantastic conversations. Always love shooting the shit, sitting to chat with you guys. So sign up at patreon.com/Boston Brian, and that gets you involved in the Zoom chats. You'll get access to the link that goes with the level that you're signed up at to get access to the Zoom chats. The new The new May schedule for the Zooms is in the outro video. I just have to upload that separately so that I could show that on screen. But if you do look at the outro video, the new May schedule for the Patreon's up there. It's just basically every Monday, and then you can see which tier it's for. So we're trying to keep it simple, stupid, me, keep it simple. It's easy for me to remember. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you joining Blunt Politics again. Just your everyday, not your everyday average political podcast, I should say. Just breaking down the propaganda, the lies, the bullshit of the mainstream media, obviously the GOP, Donald Trump, and the rest of these fucking fools, and trying to break it down in a normal, everyday way that you'd be speaking to like your friends and family about it with. It just gives it a little bit more relatable stance. We don't try to talk down to people. We're not teaching anybody anything here. We're just kind of learning together, going through the news, the aspects, the facts of the matter, and kind of coming to our own conclusions based off of that. So I appreciate you guys for joining me again. Welcome to the opposition. Welcome to the resistance. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 20K, and it's only with your help that we're going to get there. So I will see you tomorrow for the double header. We got 2 shows tomorrow on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, 2 shows. One at 1 p.m. here on the East Coast. That's a 1-hour show. And then we got 8:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. That's a 2-hour show. So figure out wherever you live and what that means as far as times is concerned. But we'll see you here twice tomorrow for the doubleheader. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Like I said, make sure you hit that like button on the way out and be checking the outro for the new May Zooms. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. Twice, in fact.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую. Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
what uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated?
He says rectum damn near killed him. What in the hell was that all about?
Here you got a little chubby going there.
Like we always do about this time.
White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones. Is there anything worse than white people?
I mean, they've been conserved since the time of lobsters, right? There weren't trees around when lobsters first manifested themselves on the planet.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.